there, everybody, and good afternoon. It is now almost 3:10 p.m. and we wanted to bring you an update here on this Tuesday afternoon because we have a severe thunderstorm watch, a couple severe thunderstorm warnings that have just been issued for parts of our area, and a large cluster of storms that's going to be moving in and impacting our region as we go through the next several hours. So let's start with the current warnings that are in effect for our area at the moment. We have a severe thunderstorm warning that covers parts of Anderson, Knox, Loudoun, and Roane counties, and now we just had a new severe thunderstorm warning issued for the rest of Knox County, it looks like. That extends over into parts of severe until 4:15. That new severe thunderstorm warning does include northern portions of Blount, parts of Sevier, Jefferson, as well as parts of Anderson, over into parts of Roane and Knox counties as well. So two different severe thunderstorm warnings, both for a similar area, one until 4, one until 4:15, and they are both in effect for the potential of 60-mile-per-hour winds as well as penny-size hail. So the areas shaded in the yellow polygons right there are the ones that you're seeing that are included in those severe thunderstorm warnings. That means that we have a now severe warned storm about to move into the downtown Knoxville area. A lot of lightning starting to show up with this particular storm. That tells us that it has a lot of energy. It's in the process of growing, not weakening, and like I said, we do have the potential for seeing some of that hail. If I turn on our vertically integrated liquid, it does look like the best chance of having some of that hail maybe out to the west near Westtown Mall at this point, actually getting close to Bearden Elementary School. And this storm, by the way, is moving to the, let's see here, moving to the east at 25 miles per hour. So it's moving along. That's going to be good for our flood threat, but the main concern here too is when we have such a saturated atmosphere, you can feel it outside. It's super muggy. You're going to get torrential rainfall. So you may not get those hail pellets actually reaching all the way down to the surface because they're going to melt before they do that. A few small hail pellets may get all the way down to the ground out near the Westtown Mall area, but we're most concerned with the torrential rain that's going to come. Paper Mill, Ray Mears, those typical flood-prone areas out in the west side of town could very likely see some standing water, and Park West out near Cedar Bluff also could have some standing water from a storm like this as it moves on through the area. We also have that secondary severe thunderstorm warning that we were talking about for parts of Roane and Loudoun counties, and where you see that bright pink color right there just to the east of Kingston, near Edgewood School, kind of along 58 just to the north of I-40. Also that's our best chance of seeing both the hail and the very torrential downpours. That's going to move along I-40 toward the split very shortly. So if you do live near or are in the vicinity of the I-40, I-75 split in northern Loudoun County, heads up, you have a big storm heading in your direction, currently warned for the potential of 60-mile-per-hour winds and possibly up to that penny-size hail. Now, these two storms, as I mentioned, are moving to the east at about 25 miles per hour. That is quickly enough to help with some of the flood threat in that area, but with that torrential rain, flash flooding is a big concern. The ground is already saturated. And with the potential of those 60-mile-per-hour winds coming along with that, that also increases the threat for downed trees, which could cause power outages and debris on the roadways. What I'm saying is you need to take shelter in a sturdy building, the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows if you are in either of those two warned boxes right now. And if you don't have to be out on the roads, please don't be. And avoid those typically flood-prone areas because they have a very high chance of having some standing water in there coming up in the near future.
Yeah, so there's more storms coming our way this evening. So this is just getting things started. These are water-loaded, heavy rainfall, like you said, Cassie, torrential rain, some hail. That looks like it could be some large hail just east of Kingston, as you were saying, that particular storm. Heads up Lenore City as well. That storm, severe thunderstorm warning, will likely be expanded if it continues to track a little bit more into Loudoun County. There's that one, boy, look at that cluster of lightning. Same story. Again, torrential rainfall, some hail, some damage and wind gusts. It looks like these are pulse-type storms as well. They're pulsing up and then blowing themselves out. So the downburst, the strong, potentially damage and wind gust, torrential rain, as you say, Cass, is really going to be the concern. More storms are lining up out of Kentucky and head this way this evening.
So the storms that are currently over in parts of Putnam and Fentress counties, those are Putnam and Overton counties are moving into Fentress. So in Clark Range, you are very close to the severe warning that's in effect there for that next storm that's going to be moving in. Those are our 3 severe thunderstorm. Well, now we have a 4th up in Kentucky.
Yeah, they're all in agreement. All offices
here we go.
are chiming in here.
Another severe thunderstorm warning has now just been issued for parts of Pulaski, Wayne, and Whitley, as well as Laurel and McCreary counties here in southern Kentucky. That is going to be for the potential of 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-size hail. So now we're up to 1 inch in diameter here.
Moving southeast at 50 as well. So that storm, that's particularly packed. But look at it bowing out right there.
That's the leading edge of the next cluster of storms that's off to our northwest. This is why we have here, we'll go backwards and kind of give you an idea. A severe thunderstorm watch is in effect for basically our entire area, upper East Tennessee, Hancock, Hawkins, and Greene County. You managed to get out of this one, but the rest of our viewing area is now included in a severe thunderstorm watch until 9 p.m. The watch for everyone means that we could see favorable conditions for those strong to severe storms, 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, possibly up to that quarter-size hail. So that's why we have the severe thunderstorm watch in effect. That means you need to be prepared, paying attention, watching for changing weather conditions, and having a way to receive those alerts. When a warning is issued, that is your cue to take action, to move to your safe place, lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. That means that a severe warned storm is in your area or will be there very shortly. So that's our severe thunderstorm watch. In addition to the severe threat with the damaging winds and the possibly 1 inch hail, an isolated tornado is not out of the question, but the tornado risk is very low today. The areas that I have highlighted here in green are an area that's highlighted by the Weather Prediction Center for an enhanced risk of flash flooding. We have a flood watch in effect for our entire viewing area for the potential of flash flooding.
They've got that pegged very well.
Yeah, following the path of where that storm's going to be going. That cluster of storms that you see up in Kentucky, just to the west of Somerset right now, is the reason why we have initially had the severe thunderstorm watch issued, the flash flood watch issued, or the flood watch for flash flooding issued. And then ahead of it, we've had these individual cells start to develop. There is a chance that some of these individual cells may slightly stabilize the atmosphere, but what those cells also are doing are priming the ground with very heavy rain now, and then we have that additional cluster that's going to come through over the next several hours. So the flash flood threat is going to grow exponentially as we see these additional storms come on in.
Yeah, then that storm, to piggyback what you just said, Cass, back into Knoxville to Kingston, there's that storm on the southern edge. It's just below severe levels, but it has been highlighted for a strong thunderstorm, again for northeast Loudon, southwest Knox, Blunt, into parts of Roan until 4 p.m. 40-mile-per-hour winds, not much hail in it, but that could be, you mentioned this a moment ago, it could be strengthening, and so pulsing up. So we'll have to keep an eye on Loudoun County and North City, see if we, at least 40, maybe 50-mile-per-hour gusts, and torrential rainfall, frequent lightning. Yeah, now is the time. We have a weather impact alert that continues. Now's the time to go ahead and make preparations and plans to get inside, get off the road, because there are more storms coming. It looks like a pretty active evening, and early on tonight shaping up for the rest of today.
Yeah, we've been watching this cluster since it initially developed over in Iowa and Illinois and into Indiana earlier today. Now it's dropping southeast in that northwest flow. Northwest flow is such a headache for you, the viewers, for us as the forecasters, because the models...
There's a saying that goes with it.
The models do not handle this type of activity very well. So they have a hard time seeing what's currently going on, and these impulses are so small that the models have a hard time picking up on them. So they're really best when you can see them coming. And this is one that we're certain about because we can see it coming right now. Dropping into our southeast Kentucky counties, it will likely be crossing over the Tennessee-Kentucky state line here within the next 30 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So between about 4 and maybe 6 to 7 p.m., that's going to be our core time of this line dropping through our viewing area.
Yes, damaging winds, flood threat, the two main impacts. Looking at the dew points in some areas, that's
70.
Right? But mid-70s, you can feel it. My wife came home on a brief lunch break from between her work, and we chatted a moment ago, but said, wow, it is so humid outside, and you can really feel it. That air feels kind of heavy and thick. That's the humidity that's so high. So as Cassie said, that's one of the biggest concerns. The ground is already primed and prepped with saturation. So it's not going to take as much rainfall as it, let's say, a week ago, where, it was so dry and then the ground had to kind of, soak in and saturate. Because of over a week's worth of rain, now heavy downpours, it's like a layer cake adding up. Now that's going to lead to more quicker runoff and more prone to flooding across many areas. And certainly some areas have had more than others, but we're all going to get in on these heavy thunderstorms, heavy rain showers, and certainly some damaging wind gusts now thrown into part of the equation with the severe side. So high winds, heavy rain, that's the main 1-2 punch. And plan on, if you don't have to get out on the roads, certainly it's probably wise to, if you don't have to. And if you're leaving work here shortly, just be safe. A lot of water on the roads, a lot of ponding expected.
And so when we look at our vertically integrated liquid, to play along with what Todd just said here, we have a dew point of 75 degrees. The atmospheric column is saturated all the way through. So all of that moisture-laden air is at the use of these storms that are developing right now. So that's what we're kind of looking at when we see these bright colors on our vertically integrated liquid. Typically that would indicate where we had a potential for hail, but this is more a collapsing storm that could produce seeing the damaging winds as well as the torrential rain. What do you got there?
Well, this just in. It's at my house.
Oh,
my
yeah?
wife just said, whoa, this is a bad storm, terrible wind. Look what just happened. We had a tree branch that's blocking our driveway. This is a total side note,
no.
but it is a confirmation storm report that's personally related.
Here, send that to my email.
Cannot get out of the driveway. A big branch just fell off and across our house. So our power went out, just came back on. But again, this is my wife just relaying the information. Some really strong winds. And the other 1-2 punch is with the saturated soil, some of those shallow rooted trees, a little bit less sturdy, less strong, could be easily pushed over and blown over. So it's the saturated soils with the high winds. It's that combination that we certainly could see some of those down trees and power outages possible.
Can you send that to my email?
I will.
Because then we can load it in.
Okay.
And so this is what we're talking about as we go through the rest of this evening. Between now and about 9 p.m., that's when the severe thunderstorm watch will expire. So between now and 9 p.m. tonight, we have the concern for the damaging winds from the strong storms, but also the flooding. Cannot emphasize this enough. You saw the videos of what happened on Sunday evening in the Dollywood area. And we remember what happened last week with the flash flooding across parts of Knox County. That's what we're talking about, but on a more widespread scale for the rest of this evening. So we don't want folks out if you don't have to be out. If you know those typical flood-prone areas where you typically end up with standing water when you get very heavy rain, avoid those as well. And again, this is just saturating the soil. So if normally a tree might fall down at 60 miles per hour, it might only take 50 this time to knock it down. And in the mountainous areas or areas with more terrain, mudslides will be a big concern as well. We really want folks to avoid flooded roadways, but also you need to remember when thunder roars, you need to head indoors. Take shelter in a sturdy building. In addition to the heavy rain potentially causing the localized flooding, the damaging winds are going to be our big threat.
Damaging winds. I mean,
did you send that?
Yeah, my wife just reiterating that wind was really intense, and she's not one to exaggerate. So I'll just tell you,
she's the wife of Todd.
If my wife says
she
that
knows.
wind was intense, I can tell you that wind was intense. Yes. So that was some pretty intense storms, and there's so much energy in the atmosphere, not only with the humidity, but the daytime heating. We hit 89, just shy of 90 degrees, around that 90-degree mark, very humid, and a lot of energy in the atmosphere. So again, already seeing and confirmations of those severe storms. Multiple offices issuing these severe thunderstorm warnings. Jackson, Kentucky, Nashville, Tennessee, and Morristown, of course, that covers all of our region. And a lot of these storms are pulsing up to near severe levels, as Cassie said, with those damage winds of 60 or greater, and some hail, but water loaded. Very heavy rainfall, torrential rain. So we've got some concerns. Certainly, that's why we have a weather impact alert that's going to continue as we head into this evening, Cass.
Yes. Did you send that?
Yes.
Sweet. Okay, I'll grab that 1 second.
In process.
So we have the severe thunderstorm warnings for our southern Kentucky counties. That's along the leading edge of this cluster of storms that's coming on in. What'd you say?
Warning for Cumberland, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Just new. Yeah.
That'll pop up in just a second. Oh, I think it actually is in.
That's right.
So we have let's go back and recap our warnings that we have across the area right now. So, turn this off. There we go. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for Knox County, all of Knox County almost at this point. That severe thunderstorm is moving through downtown Knoxville right now. If you can hear the thunder through our microphones, we can hear it very loud in our studios here. Down through southern Knox County into northern Blount County, and and they just extended the other warning.
Okay.
So we have 2 warnings right in the Central Valley right now.
That one was pulsing up. Yep.
It was. So we got a lot of lightning just to the west of Lenoir City. That cluster of storms is going to be passing to the southeast at about 20 to 25 miles per hour, moving through northern Loudoun County and into the main part of Blount County. That is going to include Maryville, Alcoa, and eventually Townsend. It's going to get to you, but it's going to take a little while. Then we have our other cluster of storms that's in Knox County proper. That one is going to be moving through northern Blount County into Sevier, as well as western Jefferson County in just a little bit. So that's another one we're watching at this point. So those are our two main clusters of storms that are going to have the greatest impacts on your travels right now. Then we have a new severe thunderstorm warning for that warning I was telling you about that was in Putnam and Overton moving just into Fentress. That has now been expanded to include southern Fentress and now Crossville in Cumberland County. That is in effect until 3:45 Eastern time. Eastern time? Eastern time.
And 2:45,
2:45 Central time.
Central. I mean, Cass just said Clark Range, heads up, Crossville, Fairfield Glade. Again, these storms, again, they're hitting right at peak heating too. We've reached that convective energy where our temperatures have been close to 90 degrees, very humid, very warm, moist, and unstable. And so these storms are definitely packing a punch. Again, personally just got confirmed at our house. We live in North Knox County, and got some damaging wind gusts with those storms, some intense winds and very heavy rainfall, lots of lightning. It's just time to be indoors. When thunder roars, move indoors. That's one reminder for severe weather, okay? Be in a safe, sturdy shelter. Also for flooding, turn around, don't drown. These storms are going to be producing enough water on the roads that we're likely going to see some small stream and creek flooding very quickly. On the low end, some minor flooding at least. And that's going to create a lot of water on the roads and probably looking at some road flooding, street flooding. And on a higher end, we do have a flood watch in some areas to go along with the severe threat. And we're also looking at the potential for even a little bit more serious flooding in some areas because the ground is more saturated. So again, that storm does have some wind energy, maybe severe, rotating just ever so slowly. And so again, some damage and wind gusts possible coming in just west of Clark Range. That's going to be tracking from southern Fentress out of Putnam is tracking into northern Cumberland County right now and tracking toward Fairfield Glade and Crossville and all along Highway 127. So be prepared. You need to go ahead and be prepared to move into your safe place and be out of harm's way in southern Fentress and northern Cumberland County. Again, just as storms packing a punch, kind of increasing and blowing out. And so it's going to have a lot of potentially some downburst winds on the front end as it continues to develop. Boy, there's some of those stronger winds. Wow, there it was.
Okay.
See how quickly that intensified, right? And it's actually slow rotation across North Knox.
Okay, so what we're seeing right now, what Todd and I just went wow about, is the cluster of storms that Todd's been referring to at his house that knocked down that tree into your driveway. That cluster of storms, it looks like that storm may have collapsed. And as all of that moisture that we were talking about comes rushing down to the surface, it pushes the present air out of the way. Also, that's cooler, denser air. So it hits the ground very hard, and it pushes down trees and power lines and things like that as well.
That's exactly what's going on.
That's what we saw.
That's exactly what's going on. We were going, wow, because it just kind of whoosh, as far as the radar, it blossomed up in terms of velocities, but that's the collapsing nature of these storms. That's what they're pulsing up, pulsing down, blowing out those heavy, stronger winds being transferred down the surface.
Wow. Right near Central High School. Right along Broadway, 640. North, kind of toward the Halls area, Fountain City.
Halls, Fountain City, Tazewell Pike.
Wow.
And tell you what.
Right in this area.
On power outages.
Here, I got
Mike said the power briefly went out, it came back on, but that's probably going to be an issue. Hopefully not. But with the 1-2 punch of damage and wind gust and very heavy rainfall, some power outages from down trees, power lines, and the flooding. Those are the two main concerns. Those are the two main impacts that we're looking at against severe damage and winds and heavy rain, possible flooding. Tornado threat in general is low, not zero, but overall not likely. We do have some hail in some of these storms, and we'll see how that shakes out. But the two main concerns are damaging winds and the flooding rains.
Yes, so that's our velocity scan showing you, let me switch this, sorry. Remember that as we're doing this, we are also tracking the storms and getting everything set up as we go. So we have that possible downburst of wind in North Knox County that's now about to move over 11W. You've got very strong winds coming there in your Chilhowie Park, Chilhowie Elementary School. You've got very strong winds rushing in that direction. Going to be getting to Strawberry Plains Pike very shortly here. The downtown area is kind of in between the two cells, and then we have some very gusty winds out here in West Knoxville. That we're watching moving toward Rocky Hill Elementary. That's where we might have some of those strongest wind gusts. Remember that bright pink color that I was showing you just a couple of minutes ago that was back here? There you go. See that? As that storm is collapsing and the colors are going from pinks down to reds and yellows and eventually greens, that's the core of that storm beginning to collapse. And that, again, causes those rushes of air across the region. On one hand, it's a good thing that we're seeing the storms collapse because maybe they'll calm down a little bit, but we also still have a little bit of a core within the 640 loop. That same storm that we were talking about near Central High School is working its way over toward the 640 I-40 Asheville Highway area in eastern Knox County.
Yeah, Washington
so you've got
Pike, Rutledge Pike, as you mentioned, Chilhowie, Holston area crossing over. Yeah, exactly, Cass. They are pulsing up, pulsing down.
They really are. Look at that. So the cell that was east of Kingston pulsed down, and the cell, a new cell, just developed now just to the southwest of that. That's going to be moving out of Roane County into Loudoun County, but instead of going into the northern part of the county, it's going to come into the central part of the county.
Wow.
Right
These things are just, man, go outside and sneeze and get a new updraft. I mean, it's
Don't
just very,
sneeze.
no, just joking just a little bit, but that's what's going on in the atmosphere. I mean, it's so warm, humid and unstable in terms of these storms are popping. And here we are, 3:30 coming up right now. Hope you're having a good Tuesday, by the way, and thank you for joining us on our live stream. And again, obviously, Olympics going on. We're going to do our best to keep you updated anytime there's severe weather. And this is one of the newer ways you can always click on and get the very latest weather information, and across our social media platforms as well. But let's see, I do have a wind damage report, and these are going to be coming in.
I was just pulling it. Look, we're on the same
Look at
page.
that. Oh, look at that. Several, I don't know if there's several trees down. Let's see if there's any more.
The little
info
things,
with that.
the little things we get excited about here.
Right in North Knoxville. It's not
Right.
exactly where my house is, but we could have another report.
Several trees down across the county.
Exactly. That's it.
That's it.
Unfortunately, this is we're probably going to see these coming in, streaming in, because that storm is the atmosphere. Once it shows you kind of its hand, so to speak, of what it's capable, and you're seeing the parameters come together, and a lot of different severe thunderstorm warnings, and a lot of these are 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail, 3/4 inch penny or dime, about the same thing. But a lot of them have those same type parameters. As Cassie said, the strong downburst winds, collapsing thunderstorms, they're pulsing up, then they're collapsing, rushing down. Those are the damaging wind gusts. And you combine that with the heavy rainfall, and it's going to be a combination where we have the, wow, look at that.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to show everybody.
And it's kind of oriented, it's kind of an arrow pointing in our direction.
Check this out, folks. This is where that cluster of storms initially developed earlier today, up here in Iowa and into Illinois, and it has worked its way down in this direction, and as it has done that, it has, well, this is not an arrow, but as it has done that, it does not. What it has done is left a trail of wind damage. That's what every one of those blue dots means right through there, where you see some of the yellow dots. That's where we had some hail when the storms were a little bit stronger back off to the north and the west. But that just gives you an idea. These storms have a history of producing wind damage where they've already been, and it's not moving into an unfavorable environment right now. So that's why we're concerned about that additional threat continuing, and why we have that severe thunderstorm watch in effect all the way until 9 p.m. tonight. The storms, though, they're already knocking on our door right now. And in addition, we cannot emphasize this enough. We're talking about the severe weather threat. The flood threat is by far going to be our most widespread impact as that very heavy rain moves through the area, and it could be the impact that lingers. Because we're not done yet. We have more storms on the way going into the day tomorrow as well. So today's a 10-weather impact alert day, and tomorrow will be too. Yeah, exactly. That graphic, this radar right here, outlined in green with the lightning, with the storms, with the yellow polygons, the yellow severe thunderstorms, that tells this whole story. And that was a great illustration of what you showed, though, Cass. Those storm reports. That's actually, one's a forecast. Let me show you a futurecast. That's a forecast. If you have storm reports, that's obviously what actually has already happened. So it's kind of a verification, if you will, of the storm's potential and what they've actually done. So when you showed that whole orientation from way up in Illinois, Indiana, across Kentucky, and directionally pointed down into middle and east Tennessee, that's obvious,
I'm stating the obvious here, but it's a clue of what the atmosphere is already capable of with wind damage. So that's why we're not only in the forecast potential for some damaging winds and heavy rain, the atmosphere and what those storm reports have shown us that it's actually already occurred. And so that's why we need to have our awareness be even more heightened, because these storms are packing a punch and delivering, so to speak, of what they're capable of. So that's what we're seeing. A lot of lightning, boy, and that's going to take aim, particularly coming down toward the Cumberland Plateau from Wayne County, Kentucky, and Pulaski County, Somerset. Again, we're going to see these moving back toward, again, Overton, Pickett, Fentress, Cumberland, and Putnam counties on the plateau. And again, the orientation of these is going to slide these to the southeast and east-southeast as we go in time. So that's the flow pattern that's going to continue to bring these storms on into our region. And again, as Cassie talked about a moment ago, let's see, we're next to the last day of July here. And so we're going on about a week and a half now of pretty much almost consecutive days where we've had almost that daily chance for rain. And so the soil is certainly more saturated than it was prior to the middle part of July. And so that means these thunderstorms dropping very heavy rainfall rates are going to continue to cause some flooding issues. That's one of our main concerns. That's exactly right.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
Got to spell Lee's name right.
She said, thankfully, it did not fall on our neighbor's house. And I do have a little work to do when it dries back up on one of the panels there. But and get it out of the driveway.
Oh,
so
no.
That's what I'll be doing on my dinner break, perhaps, depending on how long we're here. But yeah, my wife said some intense winds. That storm pulsed up and then it literally collapsed and blew out.
Where's
and
the photo?
Winds just came right in.
Why is the photo not showing?
Oh, it's a system just taking
Hold on,
its time.
guys. Our system is having a moment of its own here. Give me 1 second to try to figure out why you can't see it, but I can see it. Let's see here. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's try that.
So that the game. Picture this. If you could only see. Yeah.
If you could, there you can see it now. Yes.
Yep.
So there you could see the broken branch right there, or what's left maybe of the tree trunk, and then there's the branch that's been brought down to the ground. And also I know it might be hard for you guys to see this snow. Look at the water. It's just pouring down like a waterfall in that photo, with a huge water drops coming off the roof and out in the street as well.
You know what part of that is too? I unclogged the storm spout and run around, but when it gets clogged up, it overflows right there. Side note, and I have to fix that. That's exactly what's going on.
And Todd,
right.
here's the panel he has to go fix right there.
We got a new warning.
Popped
There it
right
is.
on there. Oh, new warning. Let's go check.
Fentress County till 3:15. Central Daylight Time, same thing, 60, and just under dime or penny size hail. It's that same batch that's coming back from South Central Kentucky onto the northern plateau. And to piggyback that, this is from the National Weather Service office. Got a tree down and near Monterey in Overton County, and just east of there. So again, just another confirmation, like Cassie showed a moment ago, which was a definite God, look at all that lining up. But it's an excellent illustration of the storm report. So these storms are producing wind damage. They are producing heavy rainfall rates, and so the damage and winds and flooding threat is certainly very real. And we want you to be safe and prepared. Again, the best thing to do is be inside, off the roads, and in your sturdy, building or home. And we'll do our best to keep you updated throughout the rest of the afternoon and evening.
And get your devices charged. I'm looking at the power outages right now. This is from Lenore City Utilities Board, and they are showing about, 2,200 customers without power right now in Knox County specifically.
How much?
2,200.
2,200.
And a lot of those look to be out near the Dutchtown Road, Cedar Bluff area.
Okay.
That's where we're seeing one of the main outages right now, one of those substations. But we have additional outages showing up all along I-40 out there in western Knox County, where LCUB services at this point. As far as KUB goes, still decent numbers as far as like not doing too bad when we talk about the outages, but they also are seeing more of those outages where we had a lot of that wind showing up slowly.
Yes.
Loading.
Yes.
Y'all, yes.
Okay,
so they're showing outages now out in West Knox County as well. They're showing the outages for KUB along North Shore Drive. North Shore Drive out in... I think it's North Shore. It won't pull up a label, but I'm pretty sure it's North Shore. Out west. And then also we have an outage large number of outages
Just outside the loop.
outside the 640 loop.
That's exactly where you were talking about, Cass,
Yep.
going from
And along
Rutledge Pike, Millertown, Washington, and
and up,
Highway area.
and up Broadway, up
Yeah.
441 to the north of 640, so right
Yes.
in Fountain City.
Yes, Tazewell Pike area, exactly.
Yep. Seeing those outages starting to
You
add
may
up.
be watching this on your streaming device right now, but you don't have power. And you may be saying, yep, I can confirm that. The warning, we'll get an update, it has been canceled for Anderson County, but it continues for Blount, Jefferson, Knox, Sevier until 4:15. So as you can see behind us, again, we have that cluster of thunderstorms, again, right over Knoxville right now, South Knox County, again, down Alcoa Highway, Chapman Highway, Knox, Northern Blount, and that's going to continue to move towards Seymour, Boyd's Creek area. Heads up Dandridge if you're out on the lake, and certainly you can look back to your west toward Knox when you see those darkening skies. You need to be prepared to move into your safe place. And again, we mentioned coming in, stronger storms also, again, will continue to advance from near Monterey, Overton, Putnam County, right toward Fairfield Glade and Crossville in Clark Range from Cumberland County into Fentress counties respectively. And gosh, we can't say this enough, as Cassie's looping the radar, look how it's just, this is what's good about looping radar. You can see the energy. Look at it diving toward Jamestown. It's kind of converging. It's like water and air are very similar, like water being poured out of a jug, so to speak, or a canister, if you will. It's like the air is just being poured out and diving down, and that air being poured out is in the form of some damaging wind gusts coming out of south central Kentucky. So that's just entering into Wayne County, Kentucky, around, let's see, Monticello, and continuing to track near and southwest of Somerset, but basically from Monticello going down toward Byrdstown, Livingston, Jamestown, Pall Mall, and the Big South Fork, in those areas, you've got some potentially damaging severe thunderstorm winds and torrential rainfall, a lot of lightning as well. Even if we did not have severe storms, which we do, the lightning alone would certainly bear evidence that you certainly want to get inside and in your safe place and away from outer walls and windows whenever there's lightning, and in this case, damaging wind gusts and the torrential rain that's going along with those. So again, this pretty much tells the story. Look at all the yellow polygons. Those are severe thunderstorm warnings. And from near Williamsburg, Kentucky, back toward Monticello to Jamestown, a whole batch of severe thunderstorm warnings that encompasses that complex of storms that is diving south-southeast out of Kentucky right toward the plateau, other parts of East Tennessee. We have separate clusters with their own lot of lightning. Lenoir City, Loudon, again, coming out of Roane County. So highways 70, 321, coming out of Roane into Loudon County. You know, heads up, that lightning is increasing for you from Loudon to Lenoir City, to Loudon, and moving through the heart of Loudon County, so heads up there. And again, Knox County continuing to track to the southeast. So moving from Knoxville, South Knox County, again, heading toward into Sevier County. So from Strawberry Plains, heading toward Kodak, down toward Boyd's Creek and Seymour, and that's going to be impacting likely Jefferson County, Sevier County, and Blount County. We have that severe thunderstorm warning that continues until 4:15. 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds are possible, and also just under dime-size hail, or right at dime-size hail, dime or penny-size, 3/4-inch hail is also possible. So the damage and wind gust is certainly a big concern. And again, a lot of lightning, as we mentioned, a lot of heavy rainfall. I can only imagine, we'll give you maybe an update. I'll see if I can pull up, I don't know if there's TDOT cameras loaded or not, but
they're at the bottom
probably
of that hit.
Probably use your imagination.
I don't think they're ready though.
They may not be ready, but I'm gonna see if we'll look at drive times or something.
Yeah.
You kind of probably all use our imagination on how the interstates are doing. Actually, not as bad as I would have thought, except right into Knox County, where we've also, as Cassie talked about, having some power outages near Tazewell Pike and also along North Shore. But yeah, the interstate, where you see the red and orange, that's probably going to be growing, so to speak, as we look ahead at some of these drive times right now. From 40-75 split to Paper Mill, yeah, we are looking at 41 minutes time. I don't know if these TDOT cameras are loaded, or if they're not, we'll move on to something else.
I think the computers are not active.
640 Washington Pike. Well, that's working. Not a lot of volume of traffic out there. Okay, yep. No, there's a pretty good one. 40 at Middlebrook. So that's downtown. Eastbound.
Oh man.
Looks like it's okay, but westbound is very slow. You can see the rain coming in from left to right, and also you can see the trees blowing around here and on the side of the road. So we've got those gusty winds, and again, that rain kind of coming in just like that. So just to confirm, as far as the impact on travel, also definitely have an impact with these showers and storms coming in. Let's see, I think we already talked about that one as far as the severe thunderstorm warning. So again, these are the clusters of showers and storms, the heavy rainfall, the damaging wind gusts that are certainly possible as we go into this evening. And the watch, severe thunderstorm watch, is in place until 9 p.m. We have a flood watch for other parts of our region as well. So that's certainly the concerns as we go through this evening. My wife has given me another update. The only reason I'm relaying this, not because it's personal, but it's a kind of a current storm report. And yeah, from my wife, she said that was some of the worst wind I have been in, with an exclamation point. And again, my wife is not one to exaggerate. She's pretty much shoots straight. And so
we love Lee.
Yes, well, thank you so much.
We love you, Lee.
But that's just a personal account of going through storms, and that was in North Knox County. Obviously, I'm not going to give you the specifics, but here's a look at severe thunderstorm warning for Fentress County until 3:15 Central Daylight Time. And again, that storm also, like I said, I don't know if that's an KUB now with 3,600 without power. Thank you, Becca. Also tracking these storms or power outages.
So
she says, sorry about the tree top. Thank you, Becca. It's all good.
So check this out, y'all. I'm showing you right now the rainfall and the road name, the rainfall that we've seen within the last hour. So this is
just when since storms started developing. Okay.
Yes, because we came on here at about 3:10. So this has happened realistically within the last hour.
Right.
Look at some of these rainfall totals. 1.3 inches with that storm that was just to the east of Kingston, and in West Knoxville, where we were looking at 1.5 inches to 1.75 inches.
Yes.
And because the ground is so saturated, obviously that is a huge flash flood threat. A reminder about the different types of flood. When we talk about a flash flood,
right, good point here.
It happens very quickly.
Right.
The water rises rapidly. It tends to be rushing and very aggressive and very, very dangerous, but it also recedes quickly.
Yes.
So that's the main thing. And another reason we always say turn around, don't drown, especially with flash flooding.
Right.
Wait. It's going to go away. Yeah. You just got to wait.
We saw those pictures from the flooding in the Dollywood area. That's exactly what's going. Don't. That water, it will recede. It will go. No need to rush. And exactly. Great point. Flash. Quickly rising water and then fairly quickly receding, but in between, you got to give it time. That's when you just want to not be near floodwaters and wait, as Cassie said, wait till it recedes. Strong thunderstorm, Scott County, 50-mile-per-hour winds coming back in onto the northern plateau.
Yes, so let's recap and walk through our warnings that we have in effect right now across our area. So we have a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for another half hour in parts of Knox County into western Jefferson and Sevier counties, as well as northern Blount County. We have 2 clusters of storms that are within that warning polygon. We have the cluster that came through North Knoxville that's going to be moving currently into Strawberry Plains and into Kodak. This one has a history of breaking the tree branch at Todd's house and also knocking out, Brittany.
Yeah. You're good, Sarah.
Or Sarah. Yeah, Sarah. We're live in this camera right now.
Yes.
Love you.
You're doing great.
That was Sarah, by the way.
Hey, how you doing, Sarah?
Hey.
Robert, good.
Hey,
that's
all
the way
good.
we roll right here at Channel 10, Sarah. That's very good.
Yes. So storm coming into Strawberry Plains right now, and then over here
look at that. That's intense.
So the same storm that caused the power outages in West Knox County and likely flash flooding happening is now moving to the south of the interstate in West Knox County. So it's to the east of Farragut, but it is moving into near Rocky Hill Elementary School and into the Cherokee Boulevard area very shortly here, and eventually going to be crossing over the county line and skimming northern Blount County as well.
Right, probably go just north of the airport, but it's also from Blount County into Sevier County. That's some intense rainfall. That's when I was saying, oh my gosh, look at that. What was referred to as just this blob of red. Had a good friend said one time, Todd, that's some red rain coming.
Red rain coming.
So when you look at radar, you got red or purple, right? Yeah, that's some intense rainfall.
Also,
a lot of lightning coming in from Roan into Loudoun County.
That's what I was about to say, the lightning. So we talk about lightning all the time when we're monitoring storms. If you see an increase in lightning or a lot of it, it
Right.
tells you that a storm is strengthening. It's got that strong updraft. It's bouncing probably some hail in the upper levels around, and that's creating that friction that causes the lightning strikes.
Great
So when you see a lot of lightning with a storm, it tends to indicate that the storm is strengthening. If you see lightning decreasing, that tends to indicate a weakening trend. These three clusters of storms that we're tracking are not on the weakening side of things. As we were looking at earlier, even when one does weaken, another pulses up very close to it, so the same areas are still impacted. With our third storm,
Right.
down here in moving out of Ronan into Loudoun County, that's exactly what we saw happen out here.
That's definitely increasing some.
It's increasing. Oh, and lots of wind.
Yep, lots of wind.
Okay,
Loudoun,
so ooh, look at that. That
Yep.
was okay. So earlier,
Kingston, over Watts Bar.
yep, right over Watts Bar, moving into the Loudoun area right now. When you're seeing that red and that green,
Yep.
when we talk about a tornado potential, we talk about outbound red, inbound green, moving next to each other very tightly.
Right.
There is some broad rotation associated with this storm. You tend to see that when you have a strong thunderstorm. It's just kind of the way it works with the
In
atmosphere.
general, exactly, Cass. You tend to see that
Not
broad
unusual.
rotation. Right.
Not unusual. But what we're not seeing is a tight couplet. You've got broad rotation. But what that also can be indicating is that as the storm is collapsing, it's pushing the air out and away underneath it.
Right.
And that's also why we're seeing the two different colors showing up with that cell.
Bingo. Heads Lenore City, Loudoun. Need
Take
to be
shelter.
in your safe place. Yeah, lots of lightning. It's got some. We're seeing some higher winds showing up on the velocity scan that's coming in basically from Kingston to Loudoun, Lenore City. Eventually, Friendsville, Alnwick, Louisville, down toward Greenback. Yeah.
Oh, also out in Knox County, this is exactly where we were just talking about. Kingston Pike, Gallagher View
Wow.
near Bearden High School, another area that can flood when you get a lot of heavy water. They got standing water, cars slow to travel, they shouldn't be traveling at all, through 8 to 10 inches of standing water right now out on Kingston Pike at Gallagher View.
Right. 8 to 10 right now.
Don't do
Or
that.
maybe a couple minutes ago, and right now maybe over a foot or more, because it's right. A lot of times when we talk about, as Cassie said, when we're talking about flooding, it's not static. It doesn't just stay there. It's either decreasing or it's increasing when you have these storms moving in. So we're probably looking at a situation as this rainfall rates are picking up and coming in. A lot of times it's a rising water situation that can happen very quickly. We saw evidence of that with that 4 or 5 inches in Sevier County around the Dollywood area. Again, that was very localized. The atmosphere is so full of water that we can see not only intense winds in the front end, which we're seeing today as well, but the very heavy rainfall rates to go along with that. So yes, that's why we want you to be safe and be off the road right now.
So a really interesting thing is happening with these storms that we're seeing. So we have northwest flow, that's the big picture, that's bringing the storms down from the northwest all the way from Iowa and Illinois down toward the south and the east and into our region. But ahead of that main cluster, we actually have individual cells developing. That's what's going on right now in Knox, Loudoun, Blount, Sevier, Roan, those cells.
Yeah, keep going, Cass. I won't interrupt, but we do
Yes.
have some
Yes.
those intense
So-
winds from Mascot heading toward Jefferson City, East Knox and Jefferson, Sevier. That looks like 60
Is it
plus.
that cell, same
Yeah,
cell? Yeah.
That's that
The
one.
northern one.
Yeah, that's the northern cell, exactly.
So those three cells that are developing in the Central Valley
Yep.
are separate from the actual mesoscale convective system, the impulse that's coming down from the north. That's what you're seeing with all these spotty storms that have developed from Jamestown down to the south and the east across the rest of East Tennessee. We also here back to the west have that cluster of storms, but let me show you something that's happening real quick with that. Todd, look at this.
Yeah.
Look at the boundary right there.
Oh,
So
yeah.
these storms are actually kind of blowing themselves apart, that cluster, as it's dropping down to the south and the east. So that's good news. Maybe it won't stay as organized when,
Yeah.
when it comes into our area. Instead of
Right.
being one congealed line, instead it's going to be hopefully
Yeah.
more individual cells.
Yes.
But either way, damaging winds are possible. Let's go back to that cell that you're talking about
Yeah,
over
no,
here.
that's a great point, though. Yeah, heads up Fentress County, and
Yep.
you see that.
Wow.
It's just kind of, I was doing a loop just over, look at that, right
Ooh,
there.
and up here too.
Yep.
It's
yep.
not warned. Not warned right now, but
Coming
on
into Granger County.
coming into Rutledge very
Rutledge.
shortly here. It's near Joppa Elementary School on
Yep.
11W.
Yep.
We had some very strong wind
Just
that's
look
going
at
to be
that.
coming into Rutledge right now,
Yep.
and that's not a warned storm. Just to the south of that, where it is warned though, same
Yep.
cell, talking about the pulsing. Look at those bright colors now moving through Strawberry Plains.
Yes.
So moving out of Knox County into Jefferson County is moving right up 11E right now. So Jefferson City, you need to take shelter in the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. It looks like that storm may be collapsing.
Well, you can see a little bit of broad
Broad rotation.
Very similar very similar to what we were seeing. There's maybe
And there's
a hail
the-
core
and
with
there's the
it.
core.
It's a very mature storm that could be collapsing. When that happens, Cass talked about this a moment ago, that's when we're seeing those very intense winds intensifying. These could be merging. Those may
They
be
might.
merging toward Jefferson City, Dandridge, New Market,
Wow.
Talbot,
Wow,
Morristown,
wow.
Alpha. If we mentioned your city just then, heads up. Got some pretty intense winds that are likely
And
coming
I
your way.
have to show you.
Wow.
I have to show you our cameras right now. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness gracious. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay,
On
so
any camera, but I think
yeah,
see if
I
we
have
got
it in here.
Even if it's not the correct label, we can show it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good.
I had one. Let me. Oh, it's over here, isn't it? I
good.
made that one. Let me
Yeah.
grab it. Let me grab it. Okay.
But yeah, these storms, again, we're very similar to what we're seeing. Again, there's Douglas Lake behind us. That's a good contrast. West is
Okay.
to the east is sunny, or partly cloudy, and to the west it's darkening clouds. So that's
Okay,
what's moving in.
so there's Douglas Lake, but this is the one I wanted to show you. Check this out right now in Kodak. Look at
Yeah.
those low-level clouds
Oh yeah.
right there in the front, indicating where we have all that lift. Here comes all the heavy rain in from the right-hand side of things.
Yes.
From our Sturkey camera downtown looking north,
Yeah.
we have some sunshine in between the clouds here and there because the storms have moved through this area. And
Right.
from our tower camera, you can see, look at that swath of very heavy rain.
Wow, look at
Let me
it
get out of
on
the
our
way here.
90-inch
Look at this back here, guys. This is the back edge of that very heavy, and look at this right here. That is the heavy rain. Remember I was talking about when it hits the ground, it pushes the air out?
There's
That's the
another curtain
lift.
over there. There's several of them. That's right.
Oh my gosh, it's hard
Yeah.
to see on this monitor right now, but that's what you're seeing on the back end is that literally that rain hitting the ground and just shoving the air out of the way, and that's where, sorry, I'm really excited.
No, that's
how you're
impressive.
getting the
Good
damaging
night.
winds
Look at
happening in
that.
there.
Yeah,
That's
meteorologically,
beautiful.
that's very impressive. Look at it on our 90-inch screen over
I'm
there.
looking at it on the 90-inch screen.
We'll be there eventually.
Someday.
Here's a new warning.
Oh, sorry.
Speaking of which, that cell
down.
that's developing, it just issued Granger, Hamlin, Jefferson, Knox, Union. So this is that
That
what
cell.
we're talking about. Following that, that's until 5 p.m. So a little over an hour from right now. Same parameters, 60-mile-per-hour damage winds, maybe higher, and just under dime or penny-size hail.
So there's
Just
our,
under three-quarter
and
inch.
there's our new, oh, does that warning actually include both of the cells? Or maybe it's that one? It's just that one.
I think yes. They're
Kind of includes both.
But
They're
you
kind of
know what?
merging.
Yes, but that Jefferson City, Dandridge, White Pine, Morristown, maybe up into Granger County.
Oh, boy.
There's some, yeah, we're looking at that potential squeeze convergence and intersecting
Wow,
boundaries.
guys.
That's
Jefferson City.
New Market, Talbot,
Go to your safe place.
11E, 11W. You need to be in your safe place because we're seeing some of those more focused, intense winds, damaging wind gusts possible that are merging, coming out of Union County, Granger County, and coming out of Knox County. The top northern cells kind of moving more southeast. The one in Knox County is moving more east. They're converging from Granger into Jefferson County.
There, that kind of demonstrates it for you there.
And
So,
parts of severe, actually.
yep. So that's happening in that area. That's a new severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect until 5 p.m. We have the Blunt Jefferson Knox severe storm that's in Strawberry Plains right now. That one is still in effect until 4:15. We have the West Knox South Knox storm that's going to be moving into Rockford very shortly. It is dropping torrential rain right now on Alcoa Highway, Governor John Sevier Highway. That's moving into Rockford and is going to be getting into Seymour very shortly here. We also have a very large cell moving out of Roane County near Lenoir City into Loudoun County near Lenoir City and Loudoun at this point. That's going to be getting into Greenback and eventually into Maryville. All of these storms have the potential to produce 60-mile-per-hour winds, hail, and, of course, like I said, the torrential rainfall there. This is really interesting happening over here.
Oh, wow.
So we were talking about the broad rotation that's going on
check
with
it
some
out.
of these
Okay.
storms. Some of the storms are still broad. Some of
Yeah.
them are starting to tighten up a
Broad and
little
some of them more focused.
A little more focused. Actually, we got two different, all of them.
Look over there. A lot of them. Yep.
Okay, so let me show you what we're looking at right now.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Just
So,
the
near
airport,
Louisville.
Topside Road.
Oh,
Rockford.
actually, look at that, Todd.
Across North Pellissippi. Yeah, I know it. That's what we're looking at right there.
Okay, so we have, that could be some contamination
It's broadly
moving across
got
Pellissippi.
some vortices coming up on the south side of
And
that,
right-
from Louisville to Rockford, real close to the
Yeah,
airport.
so Topside Road, Pellissippi near the interstate, in Alcoa, Rockford.
Right.
Alcoa, again, did I mention that? Maryville, Wildwood, y'all need to be in your safe place. Low level of your home, away from doors and windows. This is a
Yeah.
severe warned storm that's also exhibiting some signs of rotation at this
Yeah.
point. So we want you to, I mean, you should take every severe thunderstorm warning just as seriously as a tornado warning anyway.
Right.
But if you don't normally do it with this one, please go to your safe place now at this point, watching that cell, and also possibly some hail up near Topside Road, along with the very, very, very heavy rain associated with that as well. That might be a little bit outside of the main area of rain. We'll have to keep investigating that.
Yes, we're seeing a lot of wind circulations within the broader scope of things. There's some vortices that are kind of wrapping around the main parent cell. So, but all of that just to say, what does all that mean? Damage and winds. And
Either way.
Cassie just made a great point. It doesn't matter what type of storm it is, really. If it's got the damage and wind potential, and you'll notice that by when we're talking about not every storm's alike, but some severe storms a lot of times can produce similar damage as even a weaker isolated tornado. So we want you to treat both the same. Again, particularly when we're seeing some of the evidence of some stronger damage and winds on radar. So that does include Friendsville, Louisville, Alcoa, Rockford, Topside Road area, and again, basically anywhere from crossing over from Knox County into Blount County. So if you live close to or anywhere in those areas, Alcoa Highway, South Knox into Blount County, you need to be in your safe place. And those winds are really rushing out probably from Alcoa to Maryville. You can see the lower hanging clouds. Now, a lot of times you may be seeing some lower hanging, what we call scud clouds. And is that a funnel? No, it's just a kind of a tornado look-alike. But we are seeing a lot of the wind that's whipping around ahead of the storm. And it does have some damaging winds, it looks like, in South Knox coming into northern Blount County. And torrential rainfall. Rainfall rates of about 1.5 to 2 inches per hour. We've seen evidence and confirmation of that. Matter of fact, in about 45 to 50 minutes time, we had about 1.5 inches of rain coming out of West Knox. And some really high winds crossing right over Alcoa Highway, South Knox, UT Medical Center, Cherokee Trail, and some of the, where they're doing the blasting, new construction, okay, right in that area, and continuing down Alcoa Highway, very heavy rainfall. It's not raining a drop right now here in North Knoxville, and you go about 2, 3, 4 miles south down Alcoa Highway, your windshield wipers can't go fast enough. So blinding rain, if you will, very heavy sheets of rain, torrential rain, a lot of lightning, and some pretty tense winds focused in with that. Some sideways rain taking place in South Knox and Blount County right now, so certainly be under cover for that storm. And we already mentioned Jefferson City coming out of Granger, Jefferson County, and wow. This is not just 1 or 2 storms. These are multiple clusters of storms. A lot of these are packing a punch, and we're just seeing this is the evidence of the very humid, warm, unstable conditions of the atmosphere. Oh, yeah.
So again, 11E.
That's intensifying
folks,
some more right
if
there,
you're along 11E coming into Jefferson City, Alpha, Morristown, go to your safe place right now. Not only are you under the severe thunderstorm warning, but as we've been kind of showing you, those 2 cells have now merged. And what that's doing is the colliding of those collapsing winds is going to just enhance them. And so that's why we really want you to go to your safe place now, away from doors and windows. Again, this storm also has broad rotation associated with it as well, and the potential to be dropping the hail and just generally the torrential rain. So if you're along 11E coming into Jefferson County, you need to be going to your safe place right now. That's kind of cell 2.0 and cell number 1 kind of merging together. Our second large cell in Knox County is now moving into Blount County now along Alcoa Highway and Topside Road. This is the one that was exhibiting maybe some tightening of the rotation at some point when it was moving kind of along Pellissippi Parkway, across North Shore Drive, down to Topside Road, still seeing some of that, and then now crossing Alcoa Highway down through Alcoa, and that's going to be moving into Maryville probably right now. So if you're down into that area, even if you don't have the rain coming into your area, this is also an important detail. Please take shelter in the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. It doesn't have to be raining for damaging winds to arrive. The wind tends to arrive actually before the rain even gets there. So if you're in Maryville, please, please, please take shelter in the lowest level of your home now, away from those doors and windows. And then we have another cell that is just absolutely downpouring in Loudoun and Lenoir City at this point. This cell seems to be moving slower than some of the others, or back building on itself. And that's how you get that extra flood risk, is when the cell is moving slowly but back building in the same spot over and over again. So you've got those torrential rainfall rates for a prolonged period of time. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a flood advisory or even a flash flood warning very shortly in those particular areas.
Great call.
Because the ground's already saturated here.
You can see that coming here in a little bit.
Also, we need to go up onto our plateau.
Yeah, no, go right ahead. Do that first, and then eventually we'll go to Douglas Lake.
Okay,
And we'll
yep.
get a vantage point
Ooh, that's a good
for
call.
Dandridge. These storms are coming in from Jefferson City toward Dandridge.
So check this out, y'all. We also have these severe thunderstorm warnings up here for parts of McCreary, Pulaski, Wayne, and Whitley counties. That section of the line is weakening a bit. This is the area where we had storms this morning, so that's probably helping with a little bit of the stability up there. But in Jamestown, woo, coming into the Jamestown area and moving into Scott County here now, into Oneida and Robbins, it's knocking on your door. It's going to be here very shortly. 60-mile-per-hour winds, very, very, very heavy rain, and possibly some hail dropping now through Fentress County. That's going to be getting into Scott and Morgan County very shortly. And in Cumberland County, you just have very heavy rain that's kind of training. That term is when we have cells, like a train track, cars along that train track moving over the same areas repeatedly, and you get your flood. You were saying you want to check on this.
Yeah, go to.
Whoa, Kodak.
Oh, hello, Kodak.
Yeah, let's go.
Go to, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so here's Kodak.
Yeah, we'll do that, yeah.
Oh no, that's not Kodak. Here's Kodak.
Yep.
With your torrential rain coming down into Smoky Stadium. And now let's go to Dandridge. And we'll turn this camera around.
There you go.
That is still so cool.
Yeah, that one right
This
there.
one.
Perfect. Hit number 5. Yep.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Yes.
I hit a lot of things all at once.
That's
Hold
fine.
on. Sorry.
Yeah, number 5. Yeah, and then zoom out a little bit and tilt it. Yeah. Okay, so this is boy, and then it's a little bit. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, that's looking. It's a little bit northeast of Andrew. That's that little bit of that cell coming in. So.
Come on, camera, focus.
Yeah. So it'll be getting closer.
Well, we're going to follow that.
And darker. Yeah, we'll follow that. That's kind of what's coming toward you from Jefferson City toward Dandridge eventually, and
Here, we'll do
that's
that.
that darker cell that we're looking at has that potential damaging winds, some weak rotation as well. So we'll certainly be keeping an eye on that. By the way, here we are just after 4 o'clock. Of course, Olympics going on now. We're live streaming, and we'll be monitoring these storms throughout the evening. Our next live show coming up, as far as on Channel 10 on air, will be at 6 p.m. and then at 6:30 on Fox 43. But here's what we're looking at as far as, and again, we'll give you continuing coverage right here, streaming online and on air throughout the evening as these storms pack a punch. Boy, Jefferson City, you're surrounded. You can look to your north, west, and south, and that's converging in. So very heavy rainfall coming. Carson, Newman, Jefferson City, again, New Market, continuing to work its way toward Dandridge. And again, we're seeing some of those focused higher winds, and particularly near and just south of New Market, but real close to New Market, and continue to work its way again toward Douglas Dam Road as well, in parts of from Sevier County and also into Jefferson County. So certainly be prepared to go ahead and get inside and stay in your safe place. These storms certainly packing a punch, and we've already seen evidence. We have power outages. We have some downed trees reported. These storms are quickly growing, developing, and then collapsing. They're pulsing up and then pulsing back down, dropping heavy rainfall rates, certainly heavy rates of rainfall, and so flooding an issue, but also as they collapse, they're producing those damaging wind gusts. And so a lot of these storms, you see all the different yellow boxes we've got. Severe thunderstorm warning, Granger, Hamlin, Jefferson, Knox, and Union until 5 o'clock. Below that, we have one until 4:15 for about another less than 10 minutes, 9 minutes from right now. And then below that one, we've got another one that continues at 4:30, Blunt, Knox, Loudon, and Rome. So again, all across the valley, these storms have been moving. As they moved across North Knox County, definitely produced some damage, focused high winds, some power outages along their way. And yes, we're continuing to see, some of those intense storms that are making their way through the region. Right now, some of the strongest winds south and east of Knoxville in southeast Knox County. And as I mentioned, up around coming out of Knox into Jefferson County and coming up Granger County as well, but approaching New Market and Jefferson City. And again, southeast of Knoxville, that's going to be moving towards Seymour, Boyd's Creek area, and Kodak. And we've already seen, as Cassie showed us on the Smokies camera, some intense rainfall and a lot of lightning showing up around Alcoa, near Maryville, and Lenoir City. Particularly Lenoir City, we got broad rotation approaching Loudon right now. So
Also down right there.
Yeah, right there.
Into Maryville, and then over into into Loudon too.
Exactly, I know it. That's that one. Right. It's broad. Right.
I think we've got some contamination in there from the heavy rain
Yeah,
too.
probably do.
But
And
also,
on the backside, it's rushing down, but yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Nothing too tight. But just another sign, a clue, very, very heavy rainfall from Lenoir City to Loudon. Boy, Interstate 75 you know, Highway 11, the
Here's
Highway
your
11
precip
up
rates.
through there. Yeah, exactly. South of Split, very heavy rainfall in Loudoun County. Look at those precip rates.
Yeah, when you see
Wow,
those bright,
that tells the story, Cass.
the bright pinks and purples showing up here, along with just the Ville also showing this as well, the vertically integrated liquid is the word? Liquid starts with an L, vertically integrated liquid. That's where we also just have a massive amount of moisture, like I was saying, in the atmospheric column, and it is all just coming down to the ground. I'm sure we will see flood advisories or flood alerts starting for these areas very soon once we start getting reports. And this is where you, as the viewer, comes in very helpful. So we're tracking these storms right now, and we'll have a new warning that we got to cover here in a second. The thing is, we want you to be safe first and foremost. When the storms are actually coming through, we want you to be safe. Once the storms have moved through, please pass along your reports. Send them to us by email, tag us on our social media pages or post them on our social media pages, or let the National Weather Service know, because they share that with everybody else, and it helps us to know if what we're seeing on the radar is actually happening, and lets us warn everybody else, hey, there's a tree down across such and such road, avoid that area.
Exactly. And send us your reports. Hopefully, in terms of flooding, don't be part of the report. We don't want you out on don't be out on the roads when there's heavy rain and flooding in terms of driving through floodwaters. And from travel is one thing, you got to be safe, but don't be out on the flooded roads is what I should say. Okay, so avoid the flooded roads. Turn around, don't drown. Don't be part of a water rescue, because when we have these intense rainfall rates, like Cass just showed a moment ago, you can get that flash flooding, which is heavy rainfall in a very short period of time. Runoff overwhelms the infiltration to the ground, so it all runs off, and the banks, the creeks, and the streams rather get out of their bank, and the ditches overflow, and the gullies get overwhelmed. So that's what quickly leads to flash flooding. It can happen very quickly, and it's, as you already know, it's been a very humid day and afternoon. So with a lot of daytime heating, we hit almost 90 degrees today, 89 at last check, and yeah, that's what we're kind of scanning the sky. As you can see, all these thunderstorms
they can't see it behind
continuing to blossom up, and we have these multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. And again, the 1-2 punch is that damaging wind threat, 60-mile-per-hour winds or higher, and very heavy rainfall. And wow, that's Smokies and Douglas Lake seeing the storm coming in. Yeah, it's interesting. I know these little vortices, so to speak, kind of
colliding of air masses and just general broad rotation showing up with some of these storms. I'll go ahead and show you this Douglas Lake cam here, because I want to show you something else about this. When we're talking about the very heavy rainfall rates and all of that going on, when you look at this camera, it's hard to see in this particular monitor, but you really can see in here kind of a teal color showing up, or a green color, and especially on that side of the screen as well. People talk about green skies when they think a tornado is coming. Well, that is not actually because of a tornadic storm. It's actually because of the size of the raindrops. The way light is reflected and refracted through each of those drops, it can create that aqua or that green hue. And that's what we're seeing in some of these storms today, because the raindrops are just so big.
Yeah, so big. And you know, another kind of a little bit of factor that shown some positive lightning. A lot of more of that in a greenish type cloud. There's been some of that, and some of the ice that's perhaps indicative of may have some hail, but particularly the amount of water in that cloud. Yeah, exactly. I don't know, folks, from the original Twister, this is a total side note just for a half second, but there was a line in there, she's going green. Now, obviously, like, that does not mean, as Cassie said, just because it's a green storm does not mean it's a tornado. It's a different parameter, actually. But sometimes those greenish-looking storms are a lot more impactful in terms of their wind and their rainfall, their lightning, sometimes hail, just depends. But in this case, lightning, strong winds, severe thunderstorm winds. Again, we do not have any tornado warnings. We have severe thunderstorm warnings, but these are impactful because they're already producing some wind damage and power outages. Yes?
We now have a flash flood warning for Knox County.
There we go. Until 8:15. So it was just a matter of
It was just a matter of time.
Just a matter of time, basically.
8:15, Doppler radar indicates 1 to 2 inches of rain have fallen. Additional rainfall amounts of up to an inch are possible. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly. Let me turn off some of our other things because it's hard to see them because there's so many warnings right now.
Cassie, while you're doing that, just
Yeah.
real quick, there's the other storm report, multiple trees down between Newmarket and Strawberry Plain.
Oh, there's 2 flash flood warnings.
Those are yes, so those intense winds moving into Jefferson County, and now we have, as Cassie just said, the flash flooding, Blunt, Knox, Loudoun, and Roan until 8:15. So yeah, that tells a story with the.
I thought it was 2. It's an oddly drawn 1.
Oh, yeah. Someone's got a really good hand there.
I
At the
know.
NWS. But yeah, and that, it kind of mirrors the storm structure that we saw in the path of those storms that were coming on in. You're showing the lightning a moment ago too. As you said, the lightning gives you a very good clue if the storms are maintaining their strength, weakening, or intensifying, or somewhere in between. So yes, those storms have been intensifying, dropping really heavy rainfall rates as they continue to track out of Roan into Loudoun County and from Knox into Blount counties.
Yes, so if you live anywhere in this area that is shaded in the green,
Right.
you need to stay home. Stay
Right.
put. If you're out at a store watching us or hanging out in the parking lot waiting to go somewhere and you're watching our live stream right now, please do not get on the roads.
Right.
They issue these flash flood warnings when they have already received reports of it happening.
Right. Yeah. We have a flood advisory. That's for minor flooding, but that's can be some decent, impactful flooding. But as Cassie just said, a flash flood warning's an upgrade from warning's an upgrade from an advisory. So when there's a warning, you take action. Okay. Even in an advisory, you got to take some action and be mindful of that. But flash flood warning, Cassie just made a great point. Let's say, well, I was planning to go to the store and wanted to be there before 5 o'clock. Well, you may just have to pump the brakes a little bit. No pun intended on that. But hold off just a little bit. Wait for these storms to kind of move on through. Wait for that water to recede. You got to wait for the threat to diminish. Don't ever get out on the roads when there's an obvious threat, like flooding. You got to wait for that threat to diminish and go down. And so we've seen, unfortunately, that's where folks can get in trouble sometimes. They try to, well, I think I can make it if I want to drive through a flooded road. That roadbed may not even be there.
Yep.
It can be washed out underneath. That's a big issue. So that's why it's not just a saying. It's, in all sincerity, it's wisdom. Turn around. Don't turn. That roadbed may not be there. So, and certainly don't ever walk or try to traverse through flooded waters, especially moving water, swift moving water. So just avoid it. Better to be safe than sorry. That always applies, and particularly with weather and storms.
So let's just take a radar tour. Let's just kind of summarize, recap, reset. Let's talk about what we've got going on.
I'm ready.
For everybody.
I'm ready.
Here we go. First, when is this happening? Between now and 9 p.m. tonight. The main impacts from the flooding and the storms that we have been tracking.
That'll work for right now.
Also, we need to avoid flooded roadways. We need to just stay off the roads in general because of the threat of debris and flooding in that area. We're seeing numerous scenes like this one from our Douglas Lake cam with very dark skies, torrential rain coming on in, and very strong gusty winds. Here's a look at the big picture. We had a cluster of thunderstorms, kind of like a bowling ball, just coming down out of Kentucky that's dropping into our plateau counties right now and into middle Tennessee. Separate from that, we had development ahead of it in the valley, and that's where we've had our most impactful storms so far are those storms that are developing in the valley. All of this area highlighted for the flash flood threat. We do have that flash flood warning that is, flash flood warning that is in effect for southern and western portions of Knox County, northern Blount County, or most of Loudoun County actually at this point, and parts of Roan County. Loudoun County, it is still pouring. If you are near Lenoir City and Loudoun, please do not get on the roads. Some of the observed rainfall rates that we've seen, I have this set at an hour. Let me go back 3 hours in this area here because now it's been raining for a little bit.
Oh yeah, wow.
Whoa, some of these rainfall totals.
Look into the orient. Look at that.
Look at
the contrast between Oak Ridge and northwest of Lenoir City. Wow. 2.5 inches, just around that, just less. 2.4 inches, Bearden, Sequoia Hills maybe, and other just west of Knoxville. Oak Ridge area, and this is so far, again, this doesn't really mean anything other than just, it gives you, what it does say is how hard it's raining where the storms have passed through. That's just all that says. Again, more showers and storms are coming in. But so far, those rainfall rates are impressive, yes. And
we have a severe thunderstorm watch until 9 p.m. for the potential of damaging winds. An isolated tornado is not out of the question, but the tornado chances are low.
Right.
The main thing we're concerned about is the damaging wind and the flooding across this area.
Right.
Our current storms that we're most concerned about is we have two storms that have merged.
Yeah.
Moved through Strawberry Plains,
Exactly.
came through Rutledge. The two storms have come together over Jefferson County and have expanded into have come together, yes, over Jefferson County, but specifically Jefferson City,
Right.
into the Dandridge area. It's going to be moving into White Pine. So heads up if you are east of Dandridge along 25W or in the White Pine area along 25E. That is where we are most concerned about seeing our very heavy rain. And now this is a little distorted because it's moving very close to the radar, but wow, what this is telling us is that storm is pushing out a line of wind. Oh my, look at that.
Boy, National Weather Service in Morristown,
They
which is
got it.
technically an alpha, they got a real good vantage point with their Doppler radar. I'm sure some folks, no doubt, safely, of course, are looking out to the southwest at the National Weather Service office and going, wow. That's pretty impressive.
So White Pine and Bainbury, this is what I was just talking about a minute ago. This wind is going to arrive probably ahead of the rain. So in White Pine and Bainbury, you are under severe thunderstorm warnings. You need to take shelter now in the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. Then we have another cell that has moved through southern and western Knox County that has now moved into northern Blount County. Actually, it's getting into eastern Blount County. That's near Maryville, Wildwood. Previously was showing some signs of rotation. It looks like that may have calmed down a little bit. The storm is still broadly rotating.
Exactly.
As it's moving down to the south and the east.
Back with the brighter
Oh,
colors
look at there 1 second.
Yep.
So that's going to be moving into like Townsend, Pigeon Forge, Sevierville. That storm looks like it might be weakening a bit. And then the one Todd was just talking about down here, this is the cell that just won't quit. And it is spawning new cells as it's doing so. Coming into Greenback right now, we have some rotation showing up. The storm has been showing signs of that off and on here and there. But either way, you've got already the torrential rain, but you've got very, very strong winds. You're under the severe thunderstorm warning and the flash flood warning. Please take shelter in the lowest level of your home now if you are in the Greenback area.
Right.
Down near Vonore on the very edge of the rain, we also have some interesting velocity starting to show up that might be strong gusty winds. And then because the cell just keeps developing again and again and again, notice, let's look at that for 1 second. Let me zoom out.
That may be contaminated with too much water, but there's potential for hail near Loudon and Greenback, embedded within the very heavy rainfall. It's likely torrential rainfall, some hail, but damaging winds and just very heavy rainfall rates coming in.
It just keeps redeveloping over the same areas again and again and again.
When you hear that, what Cassie just said, redevelopment again and again and again, that's training, as Cassie talked about a moment ago, and that can
they
lead
just
to
issued.
flooding.
No, it's the same. It's the same.
Yeah.
Flash flood watch or warning.
Warning.
The shape got me. The
oh
shape
yeah, it
got
does
me.
include that.
It got me for a second there.
You could see one coming for Vonore, maybe in other parts of Blount County. Well, as we, like to say sometimes in 3, 2, 1. I mean, there probably is going to be some more, unfortunately, advisories, warnings, probably for flooding that are going to be extended because these rainfall rates are very impressive. These storms, as Cassie just said, repeatedly backbuilding and growing over some of the same areas, coming from, generally speaking, Kingston, Lenoir City, Loudon, Greenback. Roane County, Loudoun County. Now, we got other storms we're tracking, and we'll try to get to your area in just a moment if we haven't, because there are a lot of different storms taking place. And one of the big pictures that you talked about a moment ago or showcased, I thought was, look at that.
That cell is not going
Look at the
anywhere.
lightning in Loudon.
Greenback, you are in it now for a while. Greenback, please do not go out on the roads.
411's got all kind of water on right now.
And actually, so does Paper Mill. We're getting reports of out west, Paper Mill is currently submerged. And that's the other thing when we talk about flash flooding, just because the rain stopped falling doesn't mean that the flooding threat is going away, because all that water has to keep running off. And so those low spots are going to keep seeing that water rising and or torrents of water coming down causing damage in those areas. So
new warning.
A new warning for that same cell.
Blount, Loudon, Monroe. The severe thunderstorm warning will probably come first, which it did, and we'll probably have, maybe, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. Would not be surprised if we get the flooding to follow. Front end, severe thunderstorm winds, then flooding to ensue. Same thing, we've got 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds and up to dime or penny-sized hail possible. Movement on that is southeast at 30. Okay. So that's still that corridor of northwest to southeast, and it is broadly rotating.
Tallahassee.
Yes, and the lightning, like you just showed a moment ago, look at that increasing.
Yeah, this storm is not going anywhere.
Yep.
Townsend, Seymour, you're about to get your rain. It's coming into your area now.
Wow.
You're going to get some very heavy rain coming in, so watch out for flooding in those typically flood-prone areas. But man, that cell that came through Loudoun and Lenoir City, it's still raining there, but now that cell is expanding down to the south and the east.
You're good. I'm going to check your outage now.
Yeah, so Von Orr and Greenback coming into Tallahassee along 411 right now. Please do not venture out onto the roads. Not only are we talking about the flood threat, but also with the wind and the very saturated soils and the beautiful trees that are down in that area, it's probably going to be making a mess very shortly in this area with the wind. I also don't want to neglect our plateau counties. We also just had a new severe thunderstorm warning issued now for the cell that's in Scott County that's going to be moving into southern Campbell and northwestern portions of Anderson, because we're not done. Remember I was saying that valley activity is pre-cluster activity, it's separate. Now the cluster is starting to reach our plateau counties, and that is where we're seeing a very strong storm running into the outflow boundary that I was showing just a little bit ago. Wow, okay, so these are some of the brightest winds that we've seen so far today. Near Huntsville in Scott County right now, very bright velocity starting to show up in this area. Let me just double check what I'm looking at. Okay, so we're seeing, okay. So some of the velocities that we're seeing in this area near Huntsville are showing up as high as about 60 miles per hour. And I believe that's what that warning is probably for. Severe thunderstorm warning. And we have a new one for Cumberland and Fentress here.
Yeah, just sporadic power outages.
Actually, it's not showing up in here.
Yeah, there's Anderson, Campbell, Scott counties, a new severe thunderstorm warning. And here's the latest on that. Again, for northwestern Anderson, southwestern Campbell, southeastern Scott, these are coming off the plateau.
60.
And moving from Scott into Anderson, Campbell, moving southeast at 25 miles per hour. 60 mile per hour gusts is the main hazard. Less than 3/4 inch hail possible, but damaging winds and torrential rainfall. And as Cassie's already talked about, and numerous times now, look at the lightning, look at the energy. That's what's kind of increasing between Oneida and down toward Huntsville and continuing into Scott County.
Huntsville, Norma, Caryville, you need to be going to your safe place now. Norma, it's just now getting into it. Huntsville, you're in the thick of it, but you actually have the strongest winds right near Highway 63 at this point. It looks like we're seeing a lot of really bright velocity starting to show up out here.
Yep. And look at that broad rotation, same thing.
Broad rotation. And even outside of the rain and outside of the warning area in Elk Valley and along I-75, you could have very strong wind coming, even though you're not maybe going to get the rain right away.
That's a great point. All the way from Jellicoe, Elk Valley, Pioneer, that's going to work its way right down Caryville Mountain, which always heads up even on dry pavement, but working its way down toward Caryville, Cove Lake, Jacksboro, McLeod Mountain. Got some intense winds, pretty high winds coming in your area. As Cassie just said, Scott County to Campbell County.
And something that's starting to concern me a little bit more as well is the storm motion. They're all northwest to southeast.
Yeah.
The stuff in the valley is starting to move along, but the stuff from the plateau that's in Scott County is going to be coming into Campbell, Anderson, eventually into Union, and probably into Knox County in the same places that already have a flash flood warning in effect.
Yes.
So you may see the water start to recede after you've seen your flooding. More rain is going to come, and that water is going to come right back up because we still have so much water that's running off from the first round.
Yeah, we definitely do. Hey, Cash, real quick, while we're on this view, a little bit is interesting, and you just talked about that with the orientation. What was interesting this morning, models were having a difficult time, and that's a little bit of an understatement, in the last 12 to 24 hours of tracking the complex of storms coming out of Kentucky. That morning round we saw was more focused in upper East Tennessee. So what's interesting now is you can almost see the impact that the atmosphere had, of those storms had, on the atmosphere from southeast Kentucky, Virginia, and upper East Tennessee. They had and got raked over really good with some stronger storms and heavy rain. Well, those areas really aren't seen as much. You got a spotty storm east of Greenville now, but notice where This afternoon and now heading into early evening round is focused more to the west. So the orientation is, and it's much more activity as well. Again, this is much more, we're seeing much more radar activity with the heavier showers and strong to severe storms even than this morning, which was more focused toward the Tri-Cities, Upper East Tennessee area. So these are, as Cassie said, coming off the plateau down into the valley and also in Middle Tennessee. What we got? Hail?
Loudon.
Okay, in
Tiny,
Loudon.
tiny hail.
Yes. Hey, thank you so much. I think Lewis.
Lopez A.
Lopez A. Lewis.
Lewis?
Thank you so much. If y'all don't mind, but thank you so much for a hail in the palm of the hand. If you happen to be able to, if there's a coin, like a penny or a nickel or a dime that you can put beside that hailstone, that, because everybody's hand's different size, and we, sometimes in a photo it's hard to see exactly. We can guess, but we can't tell exactly. But if there's a coin that you can place right beside that hailstone, that is a great way, in an open face palm of your hand, lets everybody see exactly how big that hail is. So thank you very much for submitting that, though. We do have at least, like I said, this is a total guess, maybe dime size hail or something, in Loudoun County out of that storm. And very, very heavy rainfall that continues to fall, again, in both Middle Tennessee, strong thunderstorms on the plateau, and here in East Tennessee. Flood advisory has been issued for Fentress into Pickett County until 6 p.m. Central Time. And again, seeing that we are looking at the heavy rainfall that's having an impact there as far as the northern plateau. And as Cassie, again, showed us, we do have that severe thunderstorm watch that's in place until 9 p.m. tonight. So a lot of folks may be wondering, okay, how much longer are we going to have to deal with these storms? Now, that threat for severe weather may come in before that time, but potentially the whole watch goes until 9 p.m. And we're also looking at flooding. We have flash flood warning right now, for Knox and surrounding counties that goes until 8 or 8:15, just after 8 p.m., I believe. So that impact, it's going to take a while for that water to recede. So as far as the impacts on this weather, it's likely going to be with us at least till 7, 8, maybe 9 p.m. and until we see some improvement. So we are in an ongoing severe threat and a flooding threat with impactful storms that are making their way from northwest to the southeast, and they're continuing to come on down into our area. So again, you can see the evidence that multiple. Let's go back in and talk about the storm that's impacting you in Loudoun County, specifically Von Orr and Greenback. Wow, some really intense storms for you. Again, we see how much lightning has been occurring with this storm. This is the last hour. Let me back it out. So Lenore City, Loudoun, tracking southeast at about 25 miles per hour. We're looking at very strong storms and heavy rainfall from Greenback toward Tallahassee, heading towards Citico Beach, and basically it's going to be straddling the yeah, that's what we're looking at. Storms. One more time there. Sorry, Chris. Yeah. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. Storms that continue to track to the southeast. Another storm going into the Townsend area. Talking about multiple thunderstorms that are in Jefferson City and Dandridge. And let me try to go back and show you just from the different camera views. Again, seeing these threatening skies. This is a look at Dandridge right now. Scan the skies, as you can see that behind me. But see the wind, the chop, very heavy rainfall that's coming into Dandridge right now. And I'll show you some of the different preset camera views. That's the bridge coming out of Dandridge over toward the dock. This is Douglas Lake. And again, seeing some of the heavier showers and storms making their way across the lake. There you see the wind just continuing to blow around. Look at those dark, threatening clouds. You can see the winds kind of coming in from behind our camera. As far as from the camera vantage point, it's a look at the storms as they're continuing to track off to the east. A little bit of a different vantage point. Nobody out fishing right now, of course, with very heavy rainfall. Yeah, Cass?
Can you go chat with him for 1 second? Your mic's having some issues.
Oh, okay. Mike's having issues?
Yes.
Yeah. Tag?
Yes.
Okay.
I stepped away for 1 second, and then I heard, oh, and there's my microphone, that the Todd's mic may have been having some questionable issues there. So I'm gonna pick it up for 1 second here. Full transparency, we're on our streaming app right now talking to you about these storms that are, you know, moving through East Tennessee and our southeast Kentucky counties and the impacts. We also have an obligation to cover our on-air responsibilities as well. So you may see us dipping in and out here. We may have to say, hold on 1 second, to our streaming folks. You will be able to continue watching what we're doing. You just may see some of the behind the scenes stuff as well, because while we're in this type of coverage, we also still have to be thinking ahead to what we're going to be doing next. So please bear with us if you see us dipping in and out or hearing us having conversations on the side. We just want to make sure we've got all of your coverage all over the place, and including sending some of our reporters out to areas where we have reports of rushing waters, they're not going in the water, or any damage reports that we may have out there. All right, so let's go back into the radar for what we have right now. We have that cluster of storms in Kentucky kind of merging with convection that had already developed here in East Tennessee, and the combination is right now producing a severe weather threat, but I think that severe weather threat is going to transition to a much more widespread flood threat as we go throughout the rest of this evening. So if you had plans to go out in probably, let's see, right now it's 4:30. So if you had plans to go out within about the next 2 hours or so, probably want to postpone those just a little while longer, because we're going to see these storms continuing to impact our area for probably the next 2 hours or so. And as we mentioned earlier, even once the rain stops, the runoff from the heavy rain is going to continue to cause flooding concerns across this area. And we're not aware of everything that's going on, so we need your reports to let us know what's happening in your area. So let's kind of talk about this. We were mentioning the lightning and how the lightning really kind of helps show us where we have those strengthening storms or the weakening storms. Well, we have the very strong storms still going on over here into Jefferson County. That strong storm is now going to be crossing out of Jefferson County into Cocke County, and that means it's going to be moving into the Newport area very shortly, and areas north of there as well, eventually into Parrottsville along 321. This is following along 25W, and which is also I-40, coming into the Newport area. So watch out for flooding there, eventually into Del Rio and areas into southern Greene County. So that will track the progress of that cell. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning still. So the Knox County severe thunderstorm warning has been allowed to expire. We have a severe thunderstorm warning still in effect for parts of Blount, Loudoun, and Monroe County. This area is a big concern to me, because this storm is now back building on where it already has been. It's now building back in that direction. So you're going to continue to see that flood threat increasing across this area, because you're going to keep seeing the rain. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Let me turn off the warnings for just a moment. Watch how this cell evolves over the last hour. So look at Loudoun in particular. See how the rain keeps redeveloping near the Loudoun area? So Loudoun has been seeing heavy rain from this storm for at least an hour now, and there's more still redeveloping, now shifting slightly south. So Greenback, you're another area that's going to be feeling this for a while, and Vonore, you are just have disappeared underneath all of the lightning as the storm has now moving over Tellico Lake. So exactly anywhere down here in Tallahassee, you're next. Flooding, big concern. Yes, we could also see the potential of damaging winds. We got a couple areas of some broad rotation mixed in here as well. Just as those towers, those inner parts of the cell are collapsing, it's causing the potential for that damaging wind in that area. But the bottom line is, first, number one threat, flooding. Secondary threat, the damaging winds coming from the damaging winds that could knock down trees and power lines. The saturated soils will increase the opportunity for those trees to come down. So again, if you don't have to be out on the roads, please do not be out on the roads right now at this time. And I neglected to look at the velocity when I was looking at our warned storm up here to the north, moving into Cocke County, out of Jefferson County. Look at that big rush of bright colors with the wind as it crossed over 25E. The good news is it looks like it's kind of rushing out ahead of itself, which is going to actually stabilize the air. Wow. And hopefully kind of cause that rain not to continue developing in that direction, and maybe that storm will start to weaken. We'll have to watch that. We also have a very strong cell up in parts of Scott County, moving into Campbell and Anderson County. This particular cell is a big damaging wind threat. Oh my goodness, look at those bright colors along I-75.
Really expanding out, Cass.
From Elk Valley. So Elk Valley, you're not even technically in the severe thunderstorm warning but our velocities are showing us that the wind is in your area right now, where we are seeing some of these bright blues showing up. Now this is well up into the storm, but 67 mile per hour wind gusts showing up outside of the warned area right now along I-75 near Elk Valley.
Paper mill, very flooded.
Very flooded.
Just off on Paper Mill specifically, and I'm sure on the interstate as well. Wow. And Tavian Whitehurst also confirming Jefferson County, driving through there on a separate photo shoot, etc., and working on a story. Visibility very, very low. And so just a confirmation.
Yeah, up near La Follette, we're also seeing those potentially up to 67 mile per hour wind gusts coming into your area as well. Yes, so those are our concerning storms at this point, and the very strong wind gusts. Also, as I mentioned, the cells moving over the same areas repeatedly. If I put this in a loop, look at how the rain just fills in, but it still covers the same area the whole time. This area right here, where you're seeing the cells just constantly moving. Now, once that dark yellow and red color kind of moves on out of there, the rainfall rates will decrease, but it's still going to rain, because on the backside of this, you get what's called stratiform. So you're losing the convective nature, the very strong storms going up, but now you just have a blanket of rain across the area, which could have moderate to heavy rainfall rates, and that's what you're seeing with the yellow. But look how evenly spaced out the lightning strikes are. You still get lightning strikes in there.
Yeah.
But it's not for the same reasons as you do with the thunderstorms that we're currently watching elsewhere.
No, that's the kind we want to have at night, just the rumbling and light to moderate rain. But that's a different story. That's later on. Yeah, intense rainfall rates that are certainly coming in. I mean, this is, and it's we've had peak heating, the timing of which this is coming in. It's utilizing all that heat in the atmosphere and the humid conditions that we've had. And you can feel it earlier today, right? You can feel it in the humidity. You can look up and see the darkening skies, and the atmosphere just loaded with lots of moisture. And so that's exactly why we're seeing some of these warnings, the flash flood warning for Knox and Loudoun County down into Blount and back into Roane counties. And those storms, rocking and rolling out of Anderson into Union County, North Knox County actually.
And the reason I wanted to point out those storms is not because they were warned, but because they are strengthening. We just heard the rumble of thunder here at our station.
Right.
And they're about to move into the same areas that just saw the big storms.
Layer cake. We're adding rain on top of rain, moisture on top of some flooding, soils, conditions. And so that's going to lead to more runoff. Exactly.
Yep, so that's going to be our big concern. And we'll have to see if those storms can strengthen back up into a point of causing trouble, because we are seeing an increase of lightning, because now we're on the leading edge of that cluster from Kentucky. So now we're getting the energy from that line that's starting to move into our area as well. And again, Campbell County, you have got some wicked wind coming through there right now, even outside of the rain.
Yeah, Jellicoe to Kerrville, on all points in between. McLeod Mountain, Fincastle, La Follette, Jacksboro, Cove Lake. Yeah, batten down the hatches, so to speak.
Very strong wind. And so looking ahead then, up here, so it's in Habersham and La Follette right now.
Look at that leading edge like that.
Very sharp.
Very sharp.
So heads up in Speedwell.
Yep.
And areas to the east over into Middlesboro. You're going to see some of these gusty winds, Pruden.
Right.
Big Barron, Sharps Chapel, Maynardville. This is probably going to be able to reach your area coming up in about the next 30 minutes. So you don't have a warning at all in your area, but just a heads up, you've got very, very strong gusty winds that are going to be moving into your region, like I said, within probably the next 30 minutes. We're starting to see the power outage numbers adding up a little bit out here. Fentress County now reporting over 500 customers without power. Loudoun, let's check our Lenore City Utilities Board. It looks like they were able to get a lot of the West Knox County customers.
Yeah, I was amazed at that, actually. Back on quickly. Surprised.
Good job,
hopefully
LCV.
Loudoun, I was surprised at Loudoun so far, and if that's current, but sometimes it takes a little bit after storms have moved through to see the ramifications of exactly what type of, damage and power outages that storms produce. But we, as Cassie just said, starting to see that coming up off the plateau, specifically Fentress and down to Loudoun counties and the northern counties, starting to see that. Just charge my device. It's all up to 100%. So another reminder to charge your devices if you're watching us live on streaming. And certainly it's always a good. Whenever we have lightning and storms and the power can go out, you want to make sure those are charged up.
All right, so we have a new flash flood warning that's going to be coming here for,
is that,
we'll have to wait 1 second because sometimes we get the stuff a little bit soon.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a new one. Let's look.
It may be. I got a new severe
No,
thunderstorm warning.
it looks like it's the same area. I think they just updated the
Got a new one
information.
for Knox County. You know what? You were talking about that storm intensifying. Anderson, Campbell, Granger, Knox, Union until 5:15. So that's a new severe thunderstorm warning.
Okay, I think that flash flood
Is
warning.
that an existing update?
It's okay. I think I misunderstood. Sometimes my phone is having some issues in here today with the stuff coming in late.
That may be good. I didn't see.
Just got the alert for it.
That's the storm, severe thunderstorm we're talking about near Jacksboro, 8 miles southwest La Follette, is moving southeast
there
at
it is.
50 miles per hour. So here's the other thing. Not only that sharp dividing line you showed us with that intense line of damaging winds, the forward momentum, it's rushing out. It's speeding up. So it has both the intensity of the winds itself, but it also has what we call the storm relative velocity of how fast it's moving. You got to factor in the forward motion of it. So it's even stronger than what's showing up on our velocity scan because it's moving fast. So
And
some intense winds coming off the plateau and down into northern part of the valley.
so we were talking earlier about how these storms have developed, how we've got the cluster up in Kentucky, and then we had the convection out ahead of it. Now we're getting the energy from the cluster in Kentucky, and that's why these storms are moving so much faster, because these didn't just pop up in one spot and then start moving. This is a cluster that has developed all the way back in Iowa and has now made it all the way down here into East Tennessee. So we've still got the push, the rush of energy coming with that cell, and wow, this is going to be our flash flood concerning area when it gets into Knox County.
That's unfortunately, that's a great point, and that's a good call.
Please don't go on the roads.
That's a great point because you can see it. It's coming in right behind. We can see the orientation of it. Some intense storms. You know, they would have to weaken really, really quickly to avoid probably having a flooding situation that could come out of Anderson, Union into North Knox County. Yeah, storms kind of back building on the back edge, and boy, Crossville. Speaking of that, you know, we got to watch the orientation of that. We're looking at from Crossville to just east of Nashville, around Gallatin, Lebanon. Some intense storms coming right across Interstate 40.
Hopefully it misses you in Cumberland County. Sorry, Cookeville. You are,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
So much lightning with those storms over there. Thankfully, just to the west of Cumberland County.
Yeah, just west of Putnam County, Cookeville. Cookeville, if you have sons or daughters that go to school there, if you ever traveled through there, that does seem to be the weather capital of Tennessee in terms of it's happening. Monterey to Cookeville, it's usually there. But boy, just west of Crossville, another large area of thunderstorms, very heavy, intense rainfall. Another little sneaky storm from around White Pine to north toward Bybee, Parrotsville, Newport. That's got a small little cluster of lightning. Got some focused energy there. And yeah, that's probably an extension of that warning until Cotton Green and Jefferson Spear. Yeah, I know it. So you've got another smaller cell, but crossing over east of Dandridge toward Parrotsville and Bybee, northern portions of Cotton County could have some damage and wind gusts. Any of these storms are maturing and collapsing. You know, there's a little bit of bright banding there. And golly, the severe winds, really Campbell County, almost all of Campbell County has, it looks like, some very strong to severe thunderstorm winds around 60 miles per hour or greater. That's heading right towards Speedwell in the Powell Valley, Highway 63, as you go from, again, La Follette toward Fincastle and working your way on up toward Speedwell and eventually into Claiborne County.
They just issued a warning for it.
Okay.
Thank goodness. Thank you, Weather Service, if you're watching us right now. We've been tracking that line of storms, and the thing is, the storms don't look intense. When you look on the radar, they don't have a lot of lightning with them. But this is that wind energy that we were talking about.
Exactly.
With that cluster coming down from up in the northwest. That wind energy is being driven down to the surface. So even though the storms are not super intense, the wind is.
The wind is.
And that is our big concern. So now you have a severe thunderstorm warning. Even if you don't hear the thunder or get the rain, you have the severe thunderstorm warning now for Hancock County or Claiborne.
You're good. Yeah, Claiborne
County until 5:30 for Speedwell, Tazewell, New Tazewell, and up into the Cumberland Gap area. All of that, you've got a rush of very strong wind that does include Sharps Chapel and Northern Union, and even into Granger near the Washburn area right now. Wow.
Yes, and as you just said, great point. Without as much lightning on the northern end, but it has the rushing wind. By the way, Caryville and Campbell County 911 call center just reported thunderstorm wind damage
There you
at
go.
4:35. So about a little over 10 minutes ago, as this, what you're seeing, and just to point out, as Cassie showed, this brighter blue color, that's Doppler radar seeing velocity winds of right around 60 miles per hour or greater. So when you get, technically it's 58 or greater, but round up just makes it easier to understand. But these are severe thunderstorm winds where you see that brighter shade of blue. And that's in La Follette up to Jellicoe and on up into Kentucky, just south of Williamsburg. So heads up Bell County. Siler, Pruden, working its way over toward Middlesboro and Mill Creek and Pineville in Bell County, and also heads up around eventually, here we are in Bell County, Todd, sorry I was pointing over toward Whitley County, but Middlesboro, and also Cumberland Gap, Harrogate, work its way down toward New Tazewell and Tazewell. You could see some of these stronger winds. Looks like it's particularly going to be focused as you go from this vantage point. Speedwell, Sharps Chapel, Maynardville, Luttrell, again, Norris Lake, Norris, Andersonville, Big Ridge State Park. Again, anywhere from coming out of Campbell County, across northern Anderson County, of course, Caryville, Rocky Top, Lake City, Rocky Top area,
50?
and continue to move southeast.
50?
Yeah, at 50 miles per hour. That's the other factor, the forward momentum of this intense line. Yes, hauling at 50 miles per hour. So this is another reason you got to go ahead and be prepared to move into your safe place and out of harm's way, being a sturdy home or shelter. Your safe place is a sturdy home or building, okay, on the lowest floor, away from outer walls and windows. Due to the high winds, the lightning, debris, etc. So a basement, lowest floor, is always a good place to be. Whenever severe weather impacts your area, that's when you want to go to your safe place. A lot of times, like this storm, it's moving very quickly. So, you're not going to have to probably be in your safe place and shelter for too long, but you need to be able to shelter in place whenever severe weather impacts your area. And if you don't know where that is, have a discussion with family members and say, where would we go? Underneath the stairwell. If you don't have a basement, center part of your house, a bathroom, hallway, or closet. Again, when we have some intense winds coming in, always good to know where your safe place is. Lowest floor, downstairs, not upstairs. The higher you go up, the faster the winds are. So lowest floor, center part of the house, and away from outer walls and windows whenever we have severe storms. Not just today, it's always good to know where your safe place is and anytime going forward. So that's a look at what we have. Again, severe thunderstorm warning earlier for Hamlin and Jefferson. That particular storm has been canceled. We have more storms, again, upstream. But again, as we just mentioned, we are seeing some of that damage coming in to the Caryville area. And let's see, well, this is in Putnam County near Baxter. It's outside of our viewing area, just relaying a report. A tree is falling on a home, occupant trapped in that home. And so having to, hopefully everything goes okay there. But that's the other issue with these type of storms and the heavy rainfall. We have the 1-2 punch of some damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour or greater. The heavy rainfall the rains we've seen over the last week and a half have basically been like a primer. They've served to saturate the soil. We've needed the rain on the one hand, right? And a lot of folks say, check that box, we're good for a while. But we have been seeing, again, a good bit of rain, most areas last week and a half. So now we're running to the issue of the soils being saturated and flooding. That also weakens the root systems of those weaker trees. Shallow rooted trees are much more easily prone to being pushed over, blown over with the high winds. So that's one of the main issues today. That looks like, is that paper mill flooding?
That's paper mill, yep.
Yep, that's, and whenever we have heavy rain, your flood prone areas, you can pretty much go ahead and expect those to be flooded if there's a drain issue or just a low spot. The ditches, the gullies, get overwhelmed out of their banks and quickly flood. This is what we saw in Dollywood, again, a few days ago, and it's very quick. It's a flash flooding. It rises quickly, and then hopefully it recedes quickly, depending on how long the rain is, but wow.
Wow.
So
okay.
we're seeing the video. Okay, that.
Yes, and apparently there are
looks
cars.
Like a river on paper mill.
Don't go there. Don't
Hopefully
go in
nobody's
it.
driving. We don't see any water rescues, right?
Hopefully not. No.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and share it onto our weather page if it hasn't already been shared
yet. We don't see any cars
yet.
in the middle of that. That's
It
again.
is not.
Hey,
I'll go ahead and put it
the
on
rain's going to do what the rain's going to do. It's going to flood, but the key is what do we do in response to that? Don't drive through it. Don't get in it. Don't drive through it. Wait for those waters. Stand back. Turn around in your vehicle. Don't drive through it. Now here's the key. That road may not even be there. So that's the key.
damage.
That's why you don't want to drive through it.
Y'all, I'm
Yeah.
just sharing this onto our social media pages right now. I don't think I can import that into our system.
Yeah.
If any of our news producers are listening right now, if you guys could get that video from Paper Mill, and
Oh, yeah.
if there was a way we could share that.
Was that Facebook?
That was Facebook.
Okay.
So
on our page?
it's
on
on
our page?
our, no, it's on the Channel 10 page.
Yeah. Thanks, folks. Just WBR Weather Facebook page. You can go on there and see it. But we'll try to get that. Thank you, Cass.
That's intense.
That is intense. I mean, what we're
We'll try to get
looks
that
like a
and
wide
see if we can
river
bring that
that's
to you.
covering all of Paper Mill. Of course, the creeks, the streams is a low spot. It's a prone area that's always been known to flood.
But wow.
The McKay's bookstore just up there, right down, all along right there. It's flooded. There's that bridge that goes over. It's underwater. Right
Thankfully,
there. Not
they
McKay's, but down below.
And thankfully, folks were smart and didn't drive in it. There have not been any water rescues for that in that area.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. We saw some folks standing by on the banks looking, just safely on the bank looking, but we did not see any vehicles need to be rescued. And that's the other thing. You don't want to put yourself in harm's way, but guess what else happens? Then you got to make somebody come and, rescue, and it puts them in kind of harm's way. So just a humble reminder, avoid the threat. Yeah, flee from it. Go the other way and wait
Chris,
for it
can
to
you repeat that?
recede.
Our producer, Chris,
Yes.
just said something and I couldn't understand. Chris, what did you say about the video? Chris may have walked away from the button.
No, I got crickets, but he'll
At that
come
moment,
back.
let's go back to the radar. What we've got going on right now across the area. We're working on getting you that video there from Paper Mill if we can.
But and here's we'll do our best we can just to keep on track in these storms. There's so many multiple clusters of storms. Wow, is that Oak Ridge and Clinton?
Thank you, Chris. The producers are working on getting that video for us.
No, go right ahead, Cass. Let me just do a quick little tour.
Y'all, this is not what we want to see. So we're talking about Paper Mill being underwater currently, even though the rain has stopped. There's still it looks like a river right now. This
like
is
a
in
wide
west.
river.
For those who don't know where Paper Mill is, it's out west to the south of I-40,
Right.
just to the east of the Westtown Mall area.
Right.
Near Kingston Pike.
Exactly, to parallel the interstate, and then where you go under the bridge from Wise Garber to Paper Mill, then you go all along that parallel in the interstate. That's a low spot right there.
Whew, all the water runs down. So here's the thing.
Exactly.
Why I'm saying this. Look at what is about to come into Knox County right now. I'm going to circle it for you right here. This cluster right there is moving down into Knox County in the same areas that are currently under the flash flood warning, and we are currently getting videos of active rivers that should be roads.
Oh, goodness
So
gracious.
that's the unfortunate part.
Well, 2 + 2 always equals 4. So Paper Mill is like it is now from an earlier storm. What you just said,
Wow.
Cass, look at what's coming.
So much rain.
So this is what wave the flag, so to speak, of big time heads up in Knoxville and Knox County, because we've already had flooding from the earlier rounds. Again, it's like a layer cake. The soil's being saturated. It's more and more primed with soppy soil conditions, and so the more repeated rounds of heavy rain and thunderstorms, you're going to have some flooding issues. So this is probably going to be a developing situation of more flooding likely within the next 30 to 60 minutes or less.
So we have
So that's what we're looking at right now.
couple different threats. First, let's talk about the wind threat up here in Campbell County coming into Claiborne County right now.
There it is, moving quickly.
Very quickly.
Speedwell and up toward Harrogate.
Yes, it is coming into that area now, into Claiborne and into Union County at this point. This may not come with a lot of thunder or even very heavy rain initially when it moves into your area, but you are going to see the dark clouds. Please just take shelter. You've got very, very strong winds. Then just to the south of that, our threat switches, and it does include the damaging wind threat because we still do see some bright velocities in there, but I think the rain is going to be a much bigger problem here for parts of Anderson County and into Knox County, mainly because these areas have already seen a lot of rain recently. Let's look at some of these rainfall totals observed in, let's say, the last 6 hours.
Okay.
Let's go back in that area. Maybe I still need to change that.
While you're there, quick comment on Clinton. Clinton, and maybe even Oak Ridge, parts of Anderson County, for the longest time when areas of Knox County and other areas were getting it, this is going back a week and a half, we need the rain in Clinton. We saw your comments and heard you. Yes, you were not getting in there as much as some other areas for a while. It took a while. Eventually, most areas are getting it once it's kind of nature of July rainfall. Well, hello, Clinton, now you're getting it. And it's heavy, and it's going to likely produce some flooding. At the minimum, street flooding, But yeah, if you live in a flood-prone area, you need to be prepared to get to a little bit of higher ground. And if you're in Knoxville, Knox County, just let me put this in motion. And Cass was just talking about, that's 6 hours. We don't need that much. Let's just go back over the last 2 hours. And now let me loop this, and it'll catch up here in a minute. But the orientation of these storms, basically and it's Clinton not showing up right there, but from Clinton down toward West Knox County, and also from around near Rocky Top and back into North Knox County. Again, the orientation is from northwest to southeast, and you got another cluster, see, coming in from Roane County down toward the North City. All these moving from northwest to southeast. So what does that mean? That means some areas are repeatedly going to see more thunderstorm rounds and more heavy rainfall. Look at this in Clark Range and Crossville. Again, that's a look at just the last couple of hours, and this is storm total rainfall we're looking at. It'll catch up in just a minute as seeing some of these intense rainfall rates continuing to impact our region. But here's what we're looking at on the big picture. Again, all this has been flowing out of Kentucky into Middle Tennessee, into East Tennessee. It's moving southeast anywhere from 25 to 50 miles per hour. We have flood potential that's elevated and in a moderate kind of risk, or more of a slight and elevated risk area, I should say, for much of Middle Tennessee and all of Eastern Tennessee. All of East Tennessee. So we do have that elevated risk for flooding that goes through this evening. We have a 10-weather impact alert that's going to be in place until 9 p.m. Severe thunderstorm watch is in place until 9 p.m. Here's the latest on that watch. Let me go back and show that. So it may be expiring early. It will probably be chipped away as the threat for severe weather ends, but we have that 1-2 punch of severe thunderstorms and damaging winds on the front end. And we also have the flooding threat, as I just showed you. Here's a look at some of those thunderstorm warnings. Sorry, come on in, Cass. Campbell, Claiborne, Granger, Union County, as well as Anderson, Campbell, Granger, Knox, and Union County, several different clusters. And these are the current flash flood warnings, so including Knox County and near Knoxville, Alcoa, the North City, Greenback, Von Orr, Blount, Loudoun, Monroe until 8 p.m., and for Blount, Knox, Loudoun, and Roane counties until 8:15. You want to swap that out with me? Yeah, okay. Cass, are you good on mic? I'm all.
Yes, you need to set tag.
Yep, there we go.
Tag,
Sorry.
It's your turn.
Sorry, missed
Did you cover this one already?
Hanging. There we go.
Did you cover this one already?
Just was in the process of covering. That's actually a new one.
Yes.
Just started talking about that.
Okay, so we have a new flash flood warning here that now includes, so we were talking about how those storms down in parts of Loudoun and Blount County were developing over the same areas, back building. Well, now that has shifted slightly to the south, and a new flash flood warning has just been issued for southern portions of Loudoun County, southern portions of Blount County, but now into Monroe County. So right across Tellico Lake, Von Orr, right down to the Tallahassee area. That's where we have that new flash flood warning, that has just been issued for that area. Let me see if I can. Okay, so we have multiple trees down also being reported down around Loudoun and into the Greenback area. And let me read the very latest with that flash flood warning.
Oh yeah.
This is the new one, so we can.
8 p.m.
Let's see. So that is now for flash flooding. Up to 1 to 2 inches of rain has fallen. They're expecting at least another inch. Right. Flooding is likely ongoing or imminent to begin. And again, this is now 2 flash flood warnings here for a pretty highly populated area for parts of Knox County, Blount County, Loudoun, Roane, Monroe.
From the earlier rounds.
That's a lot.
And current.
And current rounds, I should say.
Because it just keeps redeveloping
and
down
now
there.
we got more that's about to come in, yes, from Anderson and Knox.
Here it comes.
Yeah, you're right.
Coming in right now.
The current round that's still ongoing.
Have you done her?
So it's coming in right now. And I wanted to bring up, too, we're also starting to see new power outages really starting to ramp up down in Blount County. Alcoa Electric is now reporting over 11,000 customers without power at this point.
Let me just tell
and
you.
we can hear the thunder here. We're seeing some of those outages near down near Topside Road. Kind of where we were talking about the potential for the tree damage up in that area. So Topside Road, seeing a large cluster, but a lot of this is actually, let's see, what do we want me to do? Scroll in, there we go. So this is actually along 321 to the south of Maryville. That is where, and down toward the Walland area, that's where, a lot of our outages are happening down here. Again, this is Alcoa Electric in Blount County. Over 11,000 customers currently without power in that area.
Well, that escalated quickly, as they say.
It did. Jefferson County also now starting to report. Appalachian Electric
They're starting to come in now. It takes a little while sometimes after the storms move through, but this is typical.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick note to our streaming viewers, we're going to continue here. At some point between right now and about 20 minutes from now, at some point, they're going to let us know our ear. We're going to be doing a 90-second cut-in on WBR Channel 10. Streaming viewers, if we have to pause just briefly, just stay with us. We'll continue streaming live here and multitasking and doing different coverage on different platforms.
Yep, even the National Weather Service is saying look out paper mill because you're about to get another bunch of rain in the exact same areas.
That's the flashing lights, so to speak, going off right there.
Wow, and that's going to also move down into the area that's, again, currently under the flash flood warning, so that's going to move through West Knox County and into northern Blount County, the same areas where we're already here seeing the flash flooding already occurring in that area. Also still seeing that very strong wind up into now parts of Claiborne and into Union County. So Speedwell, this has moved through your area. Sharps Chapel, it's moving in. Harrogate, Cumberland Gap, you are about to have that strong wind move on in, along with some rain, but it's more about the wind. Tazewell, it's moving in your direction.
Yeah, Tazewell moving in direction.
Maynardville.
And producers, just a little bit of in-house business real quick. I'm sure we may already be planning this, but any reporters set to do some live shots. Lightning's an issue, but flooding ongoing, paper mill area and anywhere in just west of Knoxville and focused in that area. That's probably where it's going to continue to be an issue. So we're going to continue to bring you the very latest on that. As they say, when it rains, it pours, Cass.
Yep,
We've needed the rain. We've been in a drought.
Too much of a good thing.
Wow.
So now
It's been famine and feast, so to speak.
So we had the reported flooding out at Gallagher View and Kingston Pike out near Bearden High School. We had that reported there. Similarly, near Paper Mill Drive, that's where we've also had a flooding report, and now up in, let's see, this also says Bearden, but it's on McCamey Road at the foot of the Holiday Hills neighborhood at St. Lucia Lane. Water has overflowed the sidewalks on either side of the road, and the street is difficult to pass, which means you shouldn't.
Right.
Don't do it. Those are some of our flood reports we've already had in West Knox County. That's also where we currently have the flash flood warning in effect for this area.
Right.
Our computer system is getting sticky. There we go. Currently where we have the flash flood warning, and unfortunately where we have more rain coming in right now.
Yeah. That's it. So severe weather and flooding. Crossville, you're seeing the very heavy rainfall. It looks like it's especially focused across the western half of Cumberland County, over between Crossville over towards Sparta, moving out of Putnam County down into White County, but also parts of Cumberland County, very heavy rainfall. Some of that's continued to develop down into Bledsoe County, Ray County, Sweetwater, Nyota, and there's a person fishing in between the rain bands, but this is Douglas Lake. Yeah, we're looking at that, but those storms are continuing to traverse down the plateau and down into the Southern Valley, and we'll continue to see some of those heavier showers and thunderstorms having a high impact with a lot of water on the roads. Again, traffic will try to take a vantage point. Yeah, we're looking at our tower cam.
Here, let me switch it. Let me show you the
go
tower
ahead,
cam.
exactly. You're, I think, the exact same thing. We're going to switch from radar to our camera views right now and kind of show you what we're seeing behind the scenes. You can see it as well. Here it comes. We're looking up toward North Knox County and the gap right there where 275 cuts through the gap. And now we're looking at northeast Knox County, but looking tower camera
west.
Toward,
wow, that's the leading edge.
Wow. So
Goodness
there you
gracious.
Go. That's actually a
You're gonna see visibility drop significantly as this comes through right now. And we can hear it starting to pour on our roof here again in North Knoxville.
That's coming right across the interstate. So my goodness, there's the lightning flashing. I mean, Middlebrook Pike, Kingston
Pike. Oh my gosh,
Pike.
look at the traffic too.
All
Don't go out on the roads, folks. Please don't.
Emergency vehicles. We're good. That's going to have a high impact on traffic. Wow, we can see how slow the traffic's coming into downtown Knoxville and out as well. Very heavy rainfall coming in. Here we are just after 5 o'clock, 5:05, rush hour on this Tuesday evening, and more strong storms, severe thunderstorms, and some heavy rainfall coming back into our region.
Wow.
The severe thunderstorm warning was 60-mile-per-hour winds, just under 3/4 inch size hail. It continues for Anderson, Campbell, Granger, Knox, and Union until 5:15.
Oh, observed.
So just under 10 minutes. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, that good point on that tag there. Whoops, hit the wrong thing.
That means, okay, so what that's saying is that we have now had a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust
Good point. Yep.
observed with this warning right here, right? Or is that the northern one? I wasn't.
Sorry, no, you're exactly right.
Yes, for Knox County?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Anderson, Knox, southeastern Campbell, Union, and southwest Granger. The storm that was located near Jacksboro, 8 miles southwest of Follett, moving southeast at 50. Yeah, kind of observed.
Law enforcement.
Law enforcement, yeah.
Yep.
On the oh yeah, thank you.
So the wind threat. So basically, law enforcement has observed estimated 60-mile-per-hour winds with the cell at this point. So we're talking about the flash flooding. We're talking about the saturated soils that we already have, and then you have confirmed or observed 60-mile-per-hour winds, and that is really going to raise the concerns about trees coming down because of this. And we already have over 11,000 customers without power just from Alcoa Electric right now down in Blount County.
Boy, we could hear the heavier rainfall rates.
And now we're starting to see the numbers tick up in Knox County, Loudoun County, and Jefferson County as well.
Right.
Starting to see those numbers go up as the wind is starting to increase across our area. And unfortunately, I think we're going to see these numbers go up quite a bit more.
Norris and Anderson County just reported thunderstorm wind damage at 4:50, so about a little over 15 minutes ago. Trees down on Dairy Pond Road in Norris. Dairy Pond Road, Norris, Anderson County, some trees down. So more thunderstorm wind damage coming in as these storms have been passing through.
So here's the leading edge of the wind. It's crossing over I-40 right now from downtown Knoxville out west toward about Dutchtown Road, just north of I-40 on Pellissippi. That's going to be coming through along with that very, very, very heavy rain that's about to move over the interstate right now. Let's go back and look at our camera. Whoa, guys, let me, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so remember we were talking about reduced visibility? Check out what just happened from our Sturkey camera.
It's reduced.
You can't see anything at this point because of how heavy that rain is. Now imagine if you're out on the road. You can't see the cars in front of you. Turn on your headlights, by the way, it's a law.
Yeah.
Turn on your headlights
Always.
anytime your windshield wipers are on.
Yeah.
If you can't see, do not throw on your hazard lights. You need to pull over. You need to get off the road. Once you're off the road and stopped, you can turn on your hazard lights, but don't drive with those on. Just please, you can't tell if it's a blinker or if it's a hazard light. People don't know if you're going to merge or if you're going to move. So you become a hazard. So get off the road. With these type of conditions right now, this is not going to be great for our traffic.
You mentioned a great point. A lot of times you even see, well, it's rare, but even 18-wheeler, sometimes just pull over on the shoulder safely and then have the hazards on, yes, so somebody can see you. But, and just wait. It's not, we all know that. Yeah, it's kind of the knuckle driving, so to speak, with intense driving when you have to go through heavy rainfall rates. It's not pleasant. So a lot of times just pulling over, waiting for that storm, to pass on by. You don't have to worry about driving in it. You're out of harm's way. You're pulled over, and it's a good thing to do. That is a live look at downtown Knoxville right now. As far as visibility, we can only see the church steeple. I don't think there's anything else that you can make out of maybe a few buildings here and there. But
let me go. I'll go pull up some traffic cameras real fast.
Okay, perfect.
Whoops.
There's some intense rainfall rates. That's what it looks like in downtown. Here's a look at our Sharps Ridge camera. Wow, look at that. I mean, this is our tower cam. We're looking at North Knox County. We've got a lot of different presets, so let me try to show you that real quick of what we're seeing, and we'll go here. I'm zooming out. Again, I just hit preset number 2 that's looking in downtown Knoxville, and it's actually pulled back a little bit. Can't see a thing. So let's try to show you a different vantage point. This is going to be looking back toward West Knox County over 640. Can't see much. The ridge is right there. It's absolutely pouring. Again, back to our downtown Knoxville camera, and that's what we're looking at right now. And yeah, just very heavy rainfall rates. You can see some of the trees down below, some of the wind.
Check out T-Dot 1 and 2.
And intensity. Okay, we'll do.
Yep, go down all the way to the bottom of that hit.
Okay, be right there. We'll get some of the T-Dot cameras, and yeah, I can only imagine what the interstate is like.
So this,
we're about to see this. Yeah.
So this is out west. It hasn't even started raining here to that degree yet. This is 40 at Bridgewater, and as I said, it hasn't even started pouring just yet. That is just the amount of traffic that's on the road right now. I'm happy to see that most folks have their headlights on. That's good.
Yeah.
They're taking it slow, but they're about to get the heavy rain. Where we do already have the heavy rain is over at I-40 and Middleburg Pike. Look at the go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Cass. We're seeing the same thing. That's right.
Look at the water splashing
water.
up behind the cars as they're driving through here.
Wow.
Brake lights, you almost can't see the others. Look at all that splash right now. That tells you how much standing water is on the road right now.
That how much, and you gotta slow down. The reason.
This is eastbound, that's westbound,
Yeah,
by the way.
That one truck just committed a violation there. But anyway,
Wow.
you gotta slow down because that's hydroplaning. Especially the water, a lot of times the pavement's not all gonna be even, it's gonna slope to one side or the other, and wherever it slopes toward, and you probably know the areas of the interstate and roads that tend to flood and hydroplane.
Sorry.
Go ahead, gotta slow down. It's not a time to make up time. That's what I always tell my boys, when it's raining, that's time to go slow.
Do not. Also, we're now hearing in Knox
Shot
County,
Road, yeah.
Pleasant Ridge Road between Shot and Western Avenue, approximately 6 inches of running water
Wow.
in several spots. Guys,
That's a
please.
lot. And boy, we can hear it absolutely pouring.
making sure it's
outside
not
here.
coming in. Sounded like it was for a second.
Oh boy,
there.
hope if we get storms coming in from the east, we have our own little sometimes issues. So far, so good.
We're okay
I think
right
somebody
now.
just opened the door.
Okay, I
If
can hear
hear
water.
it, if I can hear it, you know it's coming in. That's just an internal joke and a side note.
Okay, so let's go back to what's currently happening. We'll come back to those TDOT cameras in
Got
just a
new
minute.
warning too. Sorry.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, is that what you just said?
No, that's why I want to show
Okay,
it.
perfect.
So here we go. So now the Knox County stuff that we were just showing you right there, this is from the observed 60-mile-per-hour winds.
Yeah.
That warning has now been extended past Knox County and now includes parts of Granger, Jefferson, Sevier, and basically they took the warning and they made it a little bit bigger and expanded it to the east.
Right.
So basically saying we
There's
think
that heavy rain come toward Paper Mill.
Here it
very
comes.
Heavy, very heavy rain.
also airport. We need airport.
Airport.
It's going to be moving over Douglas Lake here very shortly.
Wow.
In fact, let's see what Douglas Lake
Yeah.
velocities look like coming in
Yeah,
there.
it's boy. I mean, just again, the issue we had from earlier rounds producing flooding. We have a flash flood warning for Knoxville and Knox County and surrounding counties until 8 to 8:15 respectively. That was from the earlier rounds. Now
Wow.
we got more very heavy rainfall rates coming back in. So that's, and again, it's already saturated in flooding. So that's just going to be an even worse situation because it's going to quickly flood. And so anything that had already flooded is going to continue and actually be flooding even a little bit worse as this next round of very heavy rainfall comes in. So
Wow.
the rainfall rates are just really intense right over Interstate 40, Bridgewater, West Hills, again, Middlebrook Pike, and continuing Kingston Pike. Anywhere along the interstate right now, very heavy rainfall from basically Walker Springs, Bridgewater, West Hills, and continuing on Morrell Road.
Did we
Is
just
that
have a power flash?
Power flash.
I think we did.
Maybe
I saw
our
monitors
big
flickering.
green generator may have just kicked
Yeah,
on.
just saw our monitors turn on and off there
It may
briefly.
have. It's got an automatic sensor that'll come on.
Yeah, we got a lot of lightning coming through. Just absolutely torrential rain.
That's a continuation. You may or went over that. Continuous flash flood warning until 8:15.
Here, let's
Blunt,
read.
Knox, and
Let's see
Loudon.
if it's saying something
Yeah. See what else
new.
we got.
See if we're
Update.
getting new
We got an
information.
update. Flash flood warning remains in effect until 8:15 for Northwest Blunt, Southwest Knox, Loudon, and most east central Roane counties. This is
Wow.
latest information as of 2 minutes ago, so I'll just read it real quick. Doppler radar indicated new thunderstorms producing heavy rain are moving into the warned area from previous rainfall. Between 1 and 2.5 inches of rain have already fallen. Additional rainfall amounts of up to 1 inch are possible in the warned area. Probably just a quick token add-on at least.
At least.
Maybe slightly more.
Uh-oh.
Flash flooding already occurring and expected to continue. Is it coming into? Oh no, Eric's just checking over there.
Maybe.
When we get rain coming in one side of the building, sometimes it can
Come under the door.
collect, shall we say.
Comes under the door, comes to visit us.
and,
Also, if you're down in the Southern Valley right now and you're thinking, man, I missed out on all this. No, you didn't. It's just now starting to develop for you. So
Yes.
we actually have a new severe thunderstorm warning that has been extended even farther south down Monroe County.
Yeah, till
now
6:15, yeah.
till 6:15. So that includes, again, Southern Loudon, but also Northern McMinn and Monroe counties. We're seeing new development right now in Ray, Meigs, and McMinn County, and that's going to fill in very, very quickly down in those southern counties as well. And then, of course, farther east, we're going to see a lot of that activity. But part of the reason this is kind of dying out as it's getting into upper East Tennessee is because those were the areas that were hit the hardest this morning.
Yeah, and if you woke up this morning, hey, I didn't see it. Well, models, well, we understand. We didn't either. But in parts of the valley and plateau, but it was in upper East Tennessee. Models were kind of shifting that a little bit, having a hard time kind of defining these boundaries. But then this latest round really focused on that. So this is impacting pretty much many more areas with even more heavy rainfall and stronger wind gusts. So unfortunately, the power outages are starting to go up. Boy, red roads on the interstate, pretty much all the side roads as well.
This is what it looks like right now from our Sturkey camera at this point, but let me switch you to our downtown camera.
Oh, wow.
And you can't see anything because it's from up there. Our Smokies camera is also showing the heavy rain coming in. Dandridge is showing the dark clouds and the heavy rain starting to move into the lake. But what I wanted to show you also, let me switch sources here real quick, is show you our Market Square camera as well. Let me go. How do I change that?
Oh, just go back here. Did you already did it?
No, it's here. It's here.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
So on Market Square, look at the sheets of
water.
Rain moving across the standing wow. Woo. Look at the standing water and the sheets of rain moving across right now on Market Square. That is a lake. Market Square is a lake right now.
Oh, wow. You can see the wind blowing across.
I'm going to turn this down just a little bit.
A confirmation. We were watching this storm coming into Campbell County. Caryville, public reports hail of a quarter-size hail.
Wow. In
with
Campbell?
Strong winds and hail at Cove Lake State Park. Hail was generally, here we go. Hail was generally dime to nickel size, but the largest were quarter-sized.
Wow.
Up at Cove Lake State Park in Cumberland County. By the way, quick shout out to Ranger Roby, does a great job up there, and I'm sure he's got everybody safe at Cove Lake.
We want to show you, though, we also have, remember I was just saying Southern Valley, you're not in the clear, everything's developing. Well, guess what? Ray, Meggs, McMinn, you now have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for you until 6 p.m. That is the another portion of this cluster that, wow, look how fast that's filling in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, oh, wow. Yeah, right.
Athens,
look how it's filling in.
Sweetwater, Etowah, it's coming to you. Yes, you guys are now about to start seeing the very heavy rain and the strong to severe thunderstorms moving into your area. On the backside of all this, up in Fentress, up in our southeastern Kentucky counties, in Fentress, Scott, Campbell, Anderson, Morgan, well, not quite Anderson, but mostly Morgan County, you guys are in the clear from a severe weather threat at this point.
Right.
But you still have the heavy rain and the flood threat going on in that area.
Exactly. Like if you take your hand through water and it's that leading wave, that's got the severe winds, but you still have the heavy rain in addition to severe winds along that leading wave, but also some rain behind it, but at least it's not quite as intense behind it. 40 at Bridgewater, the rain coming across there, very slow conditions.
Very, very slow conditions.
You know, and here's 40 at Middlebrook. Oh. And we're going to be doing a cut-in just a moment, so our live streaming viewers, just bear with us a moment. We may pause. We're going to do a cut-in on Channel 10. Briefly, it'll be 90 seconds. John and Robin right there standing
Different
by.
view.
Guys, right now, 10 News, there is a weather alert day. You've been covering it all afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. Robin and John, thank you so much, Cassie, and all with me. But these storms packing a punch. It's a twofold whammy of intense damage and wind gusts on the leading edge, but even of greater concern, the heavy rain and flooding. Already seen reports of flooding that are coming into our region, including Paper Mill, Knoxville, Knox County, surrounding counties. We have a flash flood warning in place until 8:15. We have severe thunderstorms from Tazewell, Maynardville, near Dandridge, Pigeon Forge. Again, it includes Knoxville, down into Blount County, and heavy rainfall also with flooding, severe weather possible on the plateau. There's the flash flood warnings until 8:15, Blount, Knox, Loudoun, and Roane, and until 8 from Blount, Loudoun, and Monroe counties. Showers and storms are possible at least through about 8 to 9 p.m. Then we should see improvements.
We still.
Todd, thank you very much. And remember, you can keep the weather impact alert forecast in the palm of your hand. Download the 10 News app by scanning the QR code on your screen. It will take you to the App Store where it is free to download. It is the best way to stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and traffic. Well, tonight in prime time, Team USA's All-Star Gymnastics team takes them out.
No, I didn't get any time or anything.
All I heard was rap. Heard 30 and then rap.
Oh, see, I didn't hear anything.
And you weren't here. Yeah. So Okay, John Rahm, thank you.
Oh, and hello. Hi, everyone.
And we're back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Foxy, would you mind flipping that prompter when you get a chance?
Hope you're enjoying the Olympics, by
Thank
the
you,
way.
sir.
We haven't seen a bit today yet, but hope you're enjoying it. And
Hey,
covering
women's
the showers and
gymnastics
storms.
team.
Yeah.
U.S. women's gymnastic team won gold.
Oh, wow. That's not a spoiler, is it? But
No,
this just in.
they saw
Okay,
it. It was
that's good.
live. I watched
Okay,
it.
good.
I watched it before the
Yes.
start started.
All right. Are you serious right now? I'm
Yeah.
about to watch that.
I know. Go Team USA.
Way to go.
I know. I love
That's
gymnastics.
that is fantastic. A lot of folks, if I didn't know that.
Todd's so excited.
That's great. No,
Breaking
seriously.
news. There you go.
USA.
Surprise.
That's
Okay, let's get back to what we're covering here.
Back to storm tracking.
Back to storm
Back to
tracking.
impact.
Sorry, that's a little bit of behind the scenes live TV stuff going on right there.
You got to have some levity along the way as well.
We do, because we've been doing this for over 2 hours now. So let's keep going. All right, so let's talk about where we've got the warnings. Let's give you an update on the big picture, what we've got going on. So basically we had convection develop in the valley, storms develop in the valley, ahead of a big cluster of energy that was coming down that developed earlier this morning in parts of Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, passed through Kentucky, and now it's here in East Tennessee. So now that cluster, that energy has caught up to the convection. It is now reaching us, which is why we have this sudden push of very strong gusty winds across the area. Now, we've already had a lot of rainfall from the earlier storms, and flash flooding is going to continue to be a growing concern. Our main wind line is up here now to the north. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning that's just been extended from Granger into parts of Hamlin counties as well. It looks like it includes very southern portions of Hawkins County and northern Jefferson County as well. Let's check out our velocities up. Yep, there they are. So the same velocities that we were showing with the 60 to 70 mile per hour winds possible in Campbell, Claiborne, Union counties are now moving through Granger County, just about to get, they just passed through Washburn. They're about to get into Rutledge. At this point, it's about to move into your area along Lakeshore Drive over Cherokee Lake, and then it's going to be passing over Alpha and Morristown, Mooresburg, Thornhill. You've got very, very strong winds coming in your direction there. And now this is a great sample because this is in the lower levels of the storm. It's getting close to the radar. Let's take a quick sample of some of these blue colors that we're seeing here just to the east of 11W. And they're showing 58 mile per hour wind gusts possible. Let's click around a little bit more and see 66 miles per hour wind gusts possible, and up near the Washburn area, 60 to 65 mile per hour wind gusts as well.
There's those 60 plus right there.
And this is lower in the storm, so it's more confidence that that may actually be reaching the ground. So that's our main concern for our wind. Further south, our big concern is going to be the flood threat, because these areas in Knox County have already seen a lot of rain. We already have a flash flood warning. Paper Mill Drive looks like a river, and now they've got even more rain falling on those same exact areas, and that severe thunderstorm warning for this line, part of the line, has now been extended into Jefferson and Sevier counties. So Kodak, you're already seeing some rain, but Sevierville, Seymour, you've got another line coming.
Another line coming, and two more alerts. A flood advisory for Anderson, Campbell, Granger, Jefferson, Knox, Scott, and Sevier and Union. At least it's not a flash flood warning, but it is a flood advisory, and a new severe thunderstorm warning for McMinn, Meigs, Monroe, Polk, and Ray that will continue that line that's diving through the southern valley as you were talking about a moment ago, Cass.
All right, let me pull up those new flood advisories
Trees
here.
down at Big Ridge State Park in Norris.
Wow, that is a big flood advisory.
Wow.
Big flood
That
advisory.
is.
Everybody is under the flood advisory from
that's-
southern Campbell
You're
and
either under
Anderson
a flash
County.
flood warning or a flood advisory. Right?
Yeah, so and here, we'll turn that on actually just for comparison's sake. Not that type, well.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Should be that one, or I think it may be labeled underneath the flash, a different one.
Okay, not there, I can't
Oh,
show
it's
you.
taking a hot second to come in. Yeah.
It's okay. Flood advisories are showing up here on this particular map with a large portion of Anderson, the northern portion of Knox that's not under the flash flood warning, parts of Sevier County, Jefferson County, and into portions of Granger County. You're seeing some of that very heavy rain still, and also we can't forget to mention this, that when we're talking about flooding, it's not just while it's raining. Once the rain stops, you still have all of that runoff that continues, and the flooding still happens in those areas.
Yeah, 100%.
Whoa, look at these rainfall
I know, look at
totals.
I was checking that very same thing, and sampling, we can query those. 3 inches plus in Loudoun into parts of Blount and Monroe County, and also West Knox. That's about 3 inches. Well, it should be close to that, where you see those deeper reds and
Yeah,
et
so
cetera, but
let's start
a
down.
widespread 2 to 3 inches in many of those areas.
So let's start down here because it is
Greenback.
still
Wow.
raining down here. Let me switch over to the radar.
Yeah.
It is still pouring down in this area with more rain still coming. Wow, look at that development down to the south too. So let's go back to the precip. Let me go back to that. Excuse me, our weather system needs to keep
Yeah.
up with you. Come on. There we go. Okay, so now let's go back down here. So let's look at some of these potential rainfall estimates down in this area between Von Or and Greenback. Possibly up
Just
to 3 inches or
yeah.
more. I think the system is way underestimating. There we go.
There we go, yeah.
3 to 3.5 in that
Exactly.
area. Lenore City
Yeah.
also showing 2.5. West Knox County, where it is still pouring.
Yeah.
The U.S. road is,
Just to confirm, it's Kingston Pike.
It's
I have
Kingston
our
Pike.
system. It looks at Inconquery Road.
there you go, 2 to 3 inches of rain up in that area.
Yeah.
And then we're now really seeing these totals adding up. Let me go. Oh, we can do that. There you go. So
There
now
you
you
go.
can see
Okay.
how the totals are just really
The
adding
wall,
up in
Lindsay,
these areas.
not the BAM. Yeah, got it. Okay.
Check that out. So
Okay.
there's your loop of the rain accumulating and really adding up very, very quickly. And we'll continue to do so because it's still pouring in these areas.
Wow.
Wow. Wow is right.
Cass, I may let you drive it, and I'll just kind of illustrate some of those things at the wall
Ooh,
as
and
well.
Todd, we
Yeah.
might not be done because there's another cluster up in Illinois that is developing right now, and it's going to follow a similar path to the one that's come through today. So we might have another cluster coming through
with
late
more
tonight.
upstream. Wow.
With more upstream. That's one of the negatives of northwest flow that we've had, is that more impulses continue to develop to the northwest, and they all just follow that same track from
Yeah.
up near Iowa, Illinois, down into through Kentucky, and then here into Tennessee.
Cass, yeah, keep it right there on that same view, and Cass, you can come over here and join me if you want. We're just going to kind of give that illustration. What's been fascinating is over the last 24 hours, specifically, I can't tell you how many times the models changed in their timing and intensity with early this morning. They're trying to hone in and pick up on these convective complexes and these boundaries. So, it didn't do a great job with this morning's activity. It was more further east. But then they were showing, though, the big red flag being waved was we've got multiple rounds of thunderstorms that are coming, as Cassie just said, in this northwest flow. And Cassie, that's a great point. I mean, look at that from Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, and then thankfully a break as the atmosphere tries to reload and recover, but now middle and east Tennessee. So just from this vantage point alone, you can kind of see the 3 separate large clusters, but they're all tracking from northwest to southeast, and that's the upper level flow pattern. That's a big ridge out in the plain states, and these are topping that ridge and coming down into that northwesterly flow, and that's expected to be another factor and continue even into our Wednesday. So we're really going to have to be very careful in terms of we're watching these thunderstorms with heavy rainfall. It's really still, the flooding is still our primary concern, but even with these storms on the leading edge, we're seeing those damaging winds possible. We've had reports of power outages already. The downed trees and power lines from the shallow rooted trees, the soil is more saturated, and so the root system, some of these trees are weaker. My wife personally said in North Knox County at our home, we had a large branch come down across the driveway. My wife Lee said that was some of the most intense winds she's seen. And she doesn't tend to exaggerate. I'll just throw that out. She shoots straight with me a lot as well. But yeah, I'm just saying that's what she said. That was some really focused, intense winds. These storms have really been blossoming and then collapsing, and so yeah, a lot of downburst type winds, but very heavy rainfall. So we've got that 1-2 punch, a severe thunderstorm watch into place until 9 p.m. Yeah, we're looking at the camera views now, and hopefully that severe threat will it will slowly diminish later this evening. Hopefully it happens sooner rather than later, but the flooding threats could continue at least until 8 to 9 p.m. So this is our Sharps Ridge Tower camera, and again, we're kind of scanning the skies. We could not see hardly anything a moment ago with reduced visibilities as that very intense rainfall just made its way southeast through Knoxville, and it's had a high impact on the roads. Interstate flooding, paper mill, looks like a river right now, and probably we want folks, if sending in video or pictures, to safely do so. Do not put yourself in harm's way. But we've already seen some pictures and video of the flooding at Paper Mill, and it's impressive. And that was from the earlier round. Then we had another round just move right over. So here's a view of Smokies Stadium, and this is a look. Wow, if you can keep it right there, Cass, you can see those dark clouds just moving just like that. You can see them just kind of coming over and even descending right there. And so we're looking south toward the mountains. Back over here is Knoxville. Yeah, go ahead, Cass. Oh, sorry. I thought I heard something else. Yeah, here's what we're seeing. Yeah, all good.
I look at Todd like, what?
My hearing's not quite as good as it used to be, but that's a total other side note. So anyway, we are seeing those storm clouds moving back over in Kodak and Smoky Stadium. That's a live look at the storms continuing to move all in, and some very heavy rainfall. Again, very humid conditions today. Dew points were in the mid-70s, and so some of those higher winds and heavy rainfall with the high winds have continue to move on in. All right, well, thank you, Cass. Let's do a reset maybe of the Doppler radar, and we'll kind of go through some of those storms warnings and maybe some of the flash flood warnings. I mentioned that threat for severe thunderstorms will be in place until 9 p.m. for the watch. There's a look. Wow.
Yeah,
again, that's Knoxville's version of Spaghetti
Don't go
Junction.
out on the roads.
Wow, that's what that says. Now it's not a good time to go out driving. That's exactly what that says. I mean, normally it's majority of this is green. Look how many of the tributaries all coming out, sprawling out of the interstate, are pretty much brown and red. You got a little bit more green into Sevier County, thankfully. Wow, and you can see this coming from 40-75 split to Paper Mill. It's going to take you about 46 minutes. And let's see, my wife, who's an excellent storm reporter as well, so we got 7 trees down on Tazewell Pike from a co-worker of hers. There were 7 trees down just off Tazewell Pike in North Knox County. So
yeah, we're actually hearing that Tazewell Pike may actually be closed.
Okay.
Due to a single vehicle accident. Not sure if that involves one of those trees, but we are hearing that there may be some issues on those roads as well.
Oh, wow.
And check out the interstates. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. So this is
okay. Oh yeah.
275 at High School. Look on the right-hand side right now.
Wow.
That is the ramp. There is a car stalled in the water.
Right.
The police have closed the ramp. And look up near the underpass there on the northbound side.
Yeah.
That is water on the second and third lanes on the right-hand side. The 2 right-hand lanes are underwater as well. Do not drive in that. And then on the other side, you can see the right-hand lane is at a complete stop, likely because there's additional flooding preventing people from moving in that lane.
Wow. Yes,
Goodness
exactly.
gracious.
There's the car. Thankfully, it's, got hazards on, not totally submerged.
Don't do it. Don't drive in it.
No, exactly. That's 275 at High School. That's the type of volume of water. And by the way, sorry, I was also my wife was, or the place where she works, part of the offices are flooded. And so just another confirmation of a lot of the heavy rain that we've been seeing and the flooding. All right, then that's a look at, the TDOT SmartWay camera. Goodness gracious.
Okay, that's Bridgewater. I think that camera might be frozen.
Okay.
I'm going to go with frozen because
you're talking about Knoxville's version of Atlanta.
Still.
Wow. Yeah.
But seriously, that's the
volume,
volume,
though. But at one point, that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is frozen. That is not refreshed. That's not current.
No, but look at this.
Wow.
Look at this. I think that's the
switch sides here. Sorry.
It looks like officials are going out there hopefully to block off more of those lanes so folks stop driving in the water.
Yeah. They're probably right. They're probably
Stop
trying to have not do what that person's. No. The people need to be over in the leftmost lane so they don't go through the water over there. So, yeah, shifting over, that's what they need to do. Yeah, not what these cars are trying to. That's how much water is just off the interstate. That's 275 at High School and northbound. So, yeah, the ramp is closed and water just covering the road there. And that car, here's what we don't know. It doesn't look like the water covering a lot of that car right now, but it could have been even higher than that. Car could have actually probably stalled out, probably did, probably tried to drive through it. Maybe the water was even higher, stalled out, and then has gotten stranded. All right, this is, I don't know, Cass, that is live.
I refreshed it.
Maybe it's refreshed, maybe it's slightly different, but that's hardly moving at all. 40 at Bridgewater, and I don't know. Looking for TDOT's labeling here.
I'm going to go with.
I
think this is eastbound that's closest to you.
Okay, let's go with that.
Yeah.
Is that right? Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Cass. Eastbound.
And
so westbound's moving a little bit better. The heavy rains have already come through, but look at, what's going on up here, Cass?
It looks like there's either vehicles in water over there, or
Yeah.
just emergency vehicles of some kind. It looks like there's a lot of lights over in that area.
Yeah, they're working. There's definitely something going on. That's westbound 40 at Bridgewater, and eastbound, it's just very, very slow. Very slow.
So a lot of impacts going on. Right. That's the main thing we wanted to show you with these cameras and show you with TDOT, is just to show you the impacts that are being felt from this situation that we have, and we're trying to encourage people not to go out on the roads.
When you talk about impacts, and that's the whole messaging, what we're trying to convey, particularly today and even in the last couple of days. What is the impact, the weather impact? That's why we had a weather impact alert, because, yeah, the flag was definitely being raised that, you know, multiple disturbances coming in. And the timing was a little off from earlier this morning. That was a little bit more in Upper East Tennessee. But the spirit of what modeling was showing, and while we're under a weather impact alert for today, was the intensity of these storms and heavy rainfall. And oh, by the way, there's even a smoke layer above. Can't see it right now, thankfully, or smell it because of all the rain and storms. That was going to be another issue. We had smoke from California over us earlier today. Cass? Yeah.
All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at some viewer videos that we've had sent in to us.
Yeah, I'll go back and forth on
this
cameras
is from
too. Thank you,
Bearden.
guys.
And you can see water standing on the back patio area right here. Lindsay, if you could get that paper mill video that we have on our Facebook page. Yeah, that would be great. And look at this video. This is from North Knoxville.
Wow.
Water with cars up. I mean, that was up to the doors. And then look at this right here. This is a tree that was struck by lightning.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Maybe, possibly struck by lightning, or at least a large limb that has been knocked down as well. Thankfully, it doesn't look like any structures were damaged by that. Actually, I believe I did. I think that was sent in by a friend of mine, and I think it was lightning.
Oh, okay.
Could have been. She was asking if it was lightning.
Wow. It's either way, it's just peeled off. I know at our house, we had a large limb. It fell across our
Look at all
driveway.
that. Look at the black inside.
Oh, yeah,
I think
that's
I think it was struck by lightning.
That's it. Man.
Wow, and look at
Look, it's charred.
I'm going to say former reporter here at WBIR.
Look at that. Your friend, look at that. Your friend is an excellent
Her
photographer.
name is Leslie Ackerson. Thank you so much, Leslie, for that video.
I tell you, you know what I love? A nice, slow zoom and pan.
Look at that.
So it can all
Expert
be relaxed
skills.
to see it, not too jerky.
Expert skills. And then now we have the paper mill video, Todd. Look at this video.
This is what we were seeing earlier. It looks like a wide river.
Oh my goodness gracious. And this is before the second round of rain came through here. Yeah, don't do that and you wouldn't be pushing your car out of it.
Right.
Don't drive in it.
Right.
Oh my goodness gracious. So that is just an idea. We know that Paper Mill is a very flood prone area. It's not a surprise to us that this happened. It's just still unbelievable when you actually get to see it.
Yeah. Water's going to fall, heavy rain's going to come, and can't keep the flooding from happening where it happens. It's going to happen in the low spots. What we can do is, thankfully, what these people are doing, not driving in it. I'm sure that father is telling his children, see, guys, this is why you don't want to go play in the floodwaters or drive through it. It's dangerous. You got to stay out of it. And again, avoid the threat. So that's what we're looking at. With that was paper mill. That was, as Cassie just said, that was from the earlier round. That was from the earlier round that went on through. Now we had an additional heavy rainfall that went through our area with severe storms continuing now into Sevier County. Now, we've not mentioned Sevier or Cott counties or Greene counties as much. Of course, you've had your share of heavy rain storms, but now we're starting to see those storms coming in from Kodak, Seymour, heading toward Sevierville. We'll take a look at our Parkway camera, probably looking at the storms coming in there as well. But heads up, Pigeon Forge, Dollywood area, Gatlinburg, Newport. We know you've had very heavy rainfall in some areas, and the ground is certainly saturated and soppy and will be prone to flooding. So we'll have to watch that for you as we continue to track those storms. Here's a live look at Smoky Stadium. And again, cannot see too much past south and Highway 66 there. Here's a look at Parkway camera. And again, we're looking kind of southeast toward the mountains. The heavy rainfall is, this is on a billboard there, the Parkway camera. And so it's over this way. That's what the really heavy rain is going to be coming like this. It's going to be coming from screen right to screen left. So that's a look at our Sevierville Parkway camera. Ooh, I just saw, look at the lightning. Hey, Cass, very nice pan job right there.
I'm trying. It got stuck. We can't go any further. Ooh, look what's happening up here, though.
That's good. Oh, you can, if you want to, you can go all the way around. And we saw the lightning off in the distance. Yeah.
There it is, more lightning.
Yeah, go ahead. You can go either way. And I'll get out of the way and watch the pan with you.
Oh, look how fast it's moving, Todd.
Yeah. Oh, it is. I know. Those clouds are racing. So now we're looking, instead of southbound, we're looking northbound up the Parkway. Look how, you're right. Look at these clouds. That's how fast they're moving. Now we're going to get to the dark. There's the lightning, the sheet of lightning. The clouds are moving toward us right like this, toward us right now like that, toward you, I should say, just like that. And so that's what we're looking at right now. This is, again, our live Sevierville Parkway camera. You can see the lightning. So that's some really heavy rain that's going to be coming, again, down Highway 66 there, and will continue to come from Kodak. Sevierville is doing so now, and the Winfield Parkway, I should say, Winfield-Dunn Parkway. There we go. And there's a look at Seymour and Sevierville. That's a look at the strong thunderstorm, severe thunderstorm, excuse me. Does have severe thunderstorm winds. Jefferson City, boy, Dandridge, you've been covered up with heavy rain and also the more intense winds. Now, there's some good news, as Cassie just showed. We saw some of those brighter blues right here from Washburn in Granger County, Rutledge, and starting to diminish a little bit. Still some high winds, but not quite as intense as earlier. But the damaging wind threat and that very heavy rainfall threat is certainly still ongoing as those stronger winds and very heavy rains continue to move into your areas. Thankfully, we don't see quite the intensity of the highest winds that we did see earlier, but nonetheless, near severe thunderstorm winds and damaging winds will still be possible. Matter of fact, even if it's just below 60 mile per hour damaging winds, that's the severe threat, thunderstorm threshold, I should say. Even if it's 40 or 50, that could be enough to push over some of those shallow road trees because the soils are saturated. So when you get that combination of heavy rain and high winds, you can still have some down trees and power outages, and we've had our share of those as well. Again, multiple impacts going on. Not only on us and our, where we have power at home, but power outages an impact, but also on the roads and travel conditions. And yes, so that's what we're looking at right now. Greenback, Von Orr, Tallahassee. Again, that's a severe thunderstorm warning for Loudon, McMinn, and Monroe until 6:15, and for McMinn, Meigs, Monroe, Polk, and Ray until 6:30. Again, these thunderstorms have been already moving through Knoxville. Now we're making their way, again, from Roane and Loudon counties through portions of Blount into Monroe and back into McMinn, Ray, and Meigs County. So this line of thunderstorms continues to work its way southward into the southern part of the viewing area. And so now you are seeing those stronger storms with the very heavy rainfall rates continuing to move in. Let me step out of the way and I'll kind of reset. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch in place until 9 p.m. That will likely be expiring early for counties as the threat for severe weather gradually tapers. But until that happens, yes, we are going to be seeing that potential threat moving in. There's a look right now at the Sevierville Parkway camera. Let me just go ahead and show you the different views of what we're seeing. Again, here's a look at Gatlinburg right now, and we'll bring that up. Not too bad. And in Market Square, the very heavy rainfall with sheets of rain coming down earlier now has moved through. So you got some folks going back out and seeing they're able to go along. But here's a look at the bigger picture. Go ahead, Cass. Yeah.
Excuse me, folks. I left Todd hanging for 1 second there. Let me show you what's going on our TDOT cameras here. This is This is 640 at 275. So on the right-hand side right there, that is where when you're coming north up 275, and you want to merge onto 640, that is where you would be doing that. That area on the right-hand side is completely underwater. That is the entrance ramp to 640 over there on the right-hand side. So let me go ahead and point at it with my pointer right here. So that's the entrance ramp where you would normally come up and merge in with the traffic. There's a car that is completely
from 275 to 640, is that right, Cass?
To 640. And then you can see the right two lanes are closed off right there. You can see the barricades. So only the left lane shoulder is getting by, and even that, folks are having to drive through the water over here to keep going up 640 right there, and that's on 640 East. Right. Going right there.
Wow.
I believe that's exit 3, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right. Yeah, I go along this route quite often. I tell you, it is a lower area, and it's a little bit of a funneling because you got a lot of concrete, the pavement. It's a squeeze plate. It only can go one direction. Not seeing it flood too much there. That's fairly impressive. This is TDOT operating their cameras. So here's a stranded vehicle. Looks like, folks,
275 at High School.
275 at High School. And again, they did have this closed off a moment ago. It looks like they're letting cars they're going rogue, but no, I'm teasing. But they're allowing cars to kind of go back on the on-ramp here. But this is a stranded vehicle from earlier due to the accumulated water and the flooding that was taking place again, that's a result of what has happened off 275 at High School on the
Wow.
exit ramp right there, Cass.
Yep, so the bottom line is, again, if you don't have to be out, please don't be. We do have that flash flood warning and flood advisory. Basically, all of Knox County is under some kind of a flood alert at this point.
Yeah.
You know, we just don't want folks out on the roads if you don't have to be right now. And as Todd was mentioning, we do have all of those storms that have moved through Knox County. Even though it may stop raining in some areas temporarily, you've got more rain coming. It's going to be light to moderate, but still additional rain. And even once the rain ends, then you still have the runoff. And so the flooding threat will continue for those areas. Meanwhile, down Southern Valley, I was telling you, you're not going to be left out. Look at what has developed down here in Ray, Meigs, McMinn, and in addition to what was already going on in Monroe County. Wow, those are some big storms down near Athens right now, getting into Tellico Plains as well. Flooding will be a big concern in these areas too, but thankfully because of the trajectory, with these storms moving kind of more north-south rather than northwest to southeast over the same areas, hopefully these will be able to move through with less of a flood impact than what we're seeing in areas further to the north.
Yeah, absolutely. And there you see that's there's the looping radar. Thank you, Cassie. That tells the story of the day. You got multiple rounds of heavy rain, strong, even severe thunderstorms. That damage and wind threat, heavy rainfall threat has continued this afternoon into early this evening, and we're continuing to see that. Thankfully, the leading edge of severe thunderstorm winds is making its way through the region, but look at what's in the wake of these strong to severe storms that have moved through. All the blue dots are wind damage reports. Where you see green in and around Knoxville, that's the flooding reports. And Cass, you have to update me on the yellow because that could be hail or some other miscellaneous report. Can't remember off the top of my head, but that's a tornado. I'll have to check on that later.
That's the hail you were talking about at Cove Lake State Park.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, Cove Lake, yes. That was, the dime to nickel size hail, even up to quarter size hail at Cove Lake State Park in Caryville. Exactly. Thank you, Cass. There's the flash flood warnings. And Cassie, I'll let you chime in. You were talking about, look at how many areas that encompasses. Flash flood warnings, flood advisory. So, and I think did that get upgraded from the advisory to the flash flood warning? Or it could have also been in place. But we were looking at multiple counties just included. And those are both flash flood warnings until 8:15. There's the flood advisory.
Yeah,
Thank you.
There's your flood advisory. So what is not included in the flash flood warning is included in the flood advisory for a good portion of the Central Valley for right now. And then let's talk about those rainfall totals that just are still adding up. Let me show you. This is over the last 6 hours. Check this out, how those totals really have blossomed in the very short term, really in the last 3 hours or so.
Yeah.
Some of these totals down here in parts of Loudoun and Monroe County are totaling up to 4, almost 5 inches. And out near West Knox County, near the paper mill area where we've had all that flooding, up to 3 inches of rain, and we're still seeing those totals adding up with more rain coming through.
Yeah, Cass, it's I wouldn't say hilarious necessarily, but from Maryville up to the airport, I saw the airport so far. I mean, look at that, southwest of Knoxville, 3 inches. The airport at one point had 0.24, a quarter of an inch.
It's still 0.24.
Is it still? Okay.
Still 0.24.
So there you go. Look at it. I mean, you're talking about feast and famine. That's the nature of these thunderstorms repeatedly moving over the same areas. That's 3.5, maybe working on 4 inches, Greenback, Von Orr, and Highway 411, but you come up 411, just go from Greenback to Maryville, and you go from flooding and excessive rainfall of 3 inches plus to maybe a quarter of an inch or less. And so now we're looking at some of those showers. In just a moment, we're going to be taking a break from our live stream in preparation for 10 News at 6, which is coming up in just about 10 minutes from right now. So yes, we'll be leaving you in just a moment. We do appreciate you following along and join us. We thank you for your storm reports that you've safely brought us as well today, and we hope you've had a safe Tuesday afternoon, and hopefully you didn't get too much flooding. Hopefully your power's still on. Stay with us now. We'll have a full update on the latest news and weather of the day on 10 News at 6 coming up in just a few moments. Have a good evening.